And good morning, it is Glenn Clark Radio. I am Glenn, he is Griffin. Joining us this morning in studio, this man has probably heard more of my voice than he has ever cared to hear, and would be just as well never hearing it again. He's been interning for us at Pressbox this semester. He's a baseball player over at Stevenson. Brady Power is in studio. Brady, why don't you slide up a little bit closer to that microphone if you don't mind. We'll let you say hello. Good morning, man. How are you? We need Brady's microphone on, too.
Yeah.
Would be the way that would work. Yeah, that's much better.
Happy to be here.
Thanks for coming in and hanging out. Thank you for all of your hard work this semester. When you took this internship, did you realize how much transcribing you were going to have to do?
Well, no.
Yeah.
But I figured, it would make sense.
Writing
Yeah, got it.
internships probably involve a little bit of...
I
have said for some time, if I could do this without having to transcribe, it'd be the greatest job in the world. Transcribing, you have to keep doing it no matter how old you are. Like, there's never a day where you can just... And people are like, well, you can use transcribing software. Yeah, you can try. And you're going to get something that at least maybe gives you a governing body for what it is that you're doing, but you still got to go back in there.
That's the process.
Yep.
You gotta bite the bullet and you just gotta do it.
Man,
It takes a while.
if there are people that have learned
Takes a while.
You say that if someone when someone tells me that they actually enjoy transcribing, I start to wonder if they
They're
should
lying.
be on the I mean should they be on a no-fly list, because I'm pretty sure they're a psychopath.
There might be something up there.
I
Yeah.
think there might be something a little bit weird. Quickly tell me, you're from here, of course. You went to Calvert Hall, right?
Yep. So I'm from right across the road, from Calvert Hall. Graduated there in 2019, and now I'm at Stevenson, still playing the baseball.
You're a
And,
pitcher?
Yes, sir.
You're pretty good, I hear. I hear you're
I'm-
all right.
I'm not bad.
I hear
I'm not
you're
bad.
okay. I hear you're decent at
I'm
this
good.
whole
I'm
thing,
good.
right? Yeah.
I've been there. I've done that.
Could you be the fifth starter for the Birds next year? We are.
No.
Everybody's getting all their hopes up about Corbin Burns.
See, I think they improved enough that I don't think that
you
would
wouldn't be able to.
necessary.
There were years, or maybe you could have made
Maybe
the
2
rotation.
years ago I
Yeah,
could
right.
have.
This
I
year
think
might be a
so.
little bit more
This year's
difficult.
gonna be
There
a
are
little
more
tough.
qualified candidates to the rotation this year
I
than there
think
have
so.
been in past years. Everybody's really getting their hopes up about Corbin Burns. I'm like, the funniest part too is watching on Twitter, where everybody throws out would you be willing to give up Cedric Mullins and Colton Cowser, and everybody's like, no. And I'm like, the funny thing about that is even that trade probably wouldn't get you Corbin Burns. You're not willing to give up enough to not get you Corbin Burns. It is hilarious to me whenever we have these conversations about what people think someone's value is versus what the actual value of a legitimate ace pitcher is. You realize this is Corbin Burns we're talking about. We're not talking about, Jose Quintana, as we were discussing yesterday. We're talking about a legitimate ace in the majors at the moment. You're not just prying at people who are like, well, I'd give up, Connor Norby for him. I bet you would. I bet you would. You know what? Me too.
I like Connor Norby.
Don't get me wrong. I like Connor Norby too. But if there was a world where they were like, tell you what, straight up, Connor Norby for Corbin Burns, well, I guess I'd be willing to do
I think
that.
anybody would take that.
Yes, of course.
they
But
would.
there's no world in which it's happened.
Oh, no, it's not gonna
insanity. The way that we discuss these things. I am absolutely not of the belief that Corbin Burns is in any. And I'll even go as far as to say I think it's more practical that there's some bizarro world. And you know how I feel. I don't think Carlos Rodon will happen, but I still somehow think that's more practical than even Corbin Burns is, because at least that point you're just paying the money and it's over with. I think they might trade for somebody, but I think there's always an argument for trading, given some of the areas where you have depth within the system. But I don't see it happening for Corbin Burns. I just think that is a pipe dream, man. Although hope springs eternal, I get it. I enjoy dreaming as much as anybody else does. Your goals, Brady? What's ahead for you? What do you want to do?
What do I want to do? So looking to do sports journalism in some form.
Who's
fashion,
the sports journalist that you want to be like?
I don't know. I don't really follow many sports journalists.
Okay, that's weird. That's weird.
No. See, I just got my independent journey.
Oh, look at
Yeah,
this!
He's
Just
gonna
look at
create.
this
He's
guy,
gonna create
right?
his own.
I don't want to.
Well,
I don't want to be the
I
next.
don't know.
I don't want to be the next Bill Simmons. I want to be the first Brady Power.
That's
what
right.
is- That's what I hear over there.
Yeah.
Great to have you in. We'll places you want to jump in during the course of the show, by all means, you can hang
Awesome.
out. And We might have you involved in picks this week because I think we might do a side bet on picks this week. So,
alrighty.
Might you? You're a Ravens fan too, right? You're an Orioles and a Ravens fan, lifelong.
That's right. Yes, sir.
Excellent. Can you play wide receiver?
Actually, I'm not bad at football.
Did you play at Calvert Hall?
I didn't play football.
Okay, all
but
right.
I'm
Did you
actually
play
not-
any other sports, or was it always just
No,
baseball?
it was just baseball because that was just kind of what I was best at. So I just
Okay.
kind of stuck with
All
it.
right, man.
so.
I get it.
Yeah.
It's working out okay for you. You got yourself a nice education out of it.
That's
You're,
right. Yeah.
You're doing
Well,
doing
that's what
things.
it's about. That's what it's about.
Yeah, right. That's
Mhm.
all that matters.
That's all that
That's
matters.
all that matters. You're a
That's all that
student
matters.
athlete. That's what you
right.
are.
Student comes first.
You got a nice new facility.
We did. We got new field.
That looks amazing,
Mhm.
man. Every
Looks
time I
good.
was over there, I'm like, holy crap,
Mhm.
look at this place.
Mhm. Yeah.
Jeez. So now you're going to start winning championships, right?
That's the goal.
All right. Let's
That's
get
the
on
goal.
that. I built you this nice new
That's the goal.
facility. It's time.
It's time.
Let's go. No excuses.
No more 15-minute drives over
Right?
to the green spring.
Let's get
That's right.
Let's start winning some titles over
That's
there,
right.
Stevenson baseball. That's Brady Power. He's in studio with us. He's been interning for Pressbox this semester. He's a good kid, and he's been working hard, and I appreciate all of it. Busy show on tap today. Lots going on in the program today. The great Brandon Stokley, Super Bowl champion, of course, from the Super Bowl 35 champion Baltimore Ravens, the man who, as we like to joke with him, he ended the white cornerback in the NFL because of the way he skull-dragged Jason Sehorn on that early touchdown in Super Bowl 35 when Brady was, I think, a minute old, maybe, at most.
Maybe.
I don't even know if he was. That would have been in January of 2001. Were you alive?
No.
I was 6 months old.
My God!
No. You're a little.
Oh, boy.
You're about 7 or 8 months a little too early.
All right. Well, there we go. Anyway, Brandon Stokley will join us. He's now, of course, a radio host out in Denver. So we will preview the Broncos with him. And, boy, have things been going well out there. What a time it must be to do radio in Denver. Oh, my God. Could you imagine how hopeless it must feel to be a Broncos fan at the moment?
Fortunately,
Like,
no.
You made maybe the worst trade in football history, and you can't get out of it. There's nothing you can do.
I'm
You're
sure the
stuck.
Colts are looking at Russell Wilson.
Oh, you think that's the logical next step?
Yeah.
I can see it. They got to hire. Well, maybe they're going to stick it with Jeff Saturday. Who knows? By the way, what a weird bit from Jeff Saturday to like backtrack.
After you defended him.
Well, I'm still going to defend it. I think he just felt pressure. I think he felt pressure to say he was wrong and he should. And by the way, the best argument for a timeout has nothing to do with the clock. He was right about the clock. The best argument for the timeout is Matt Ryan's 40 years old and they just scrambled 12 yards downfield, and so maybe you call a timeout to give him a minute. But I would have honestly get set, run clock, then call timeout. This thing that people are trying to pretend like there was some sort of clock issue the other night is hilarious. It's the exact opposite of that. The danger is what if you score on the next play and you give them 30 seconds back? There was no clock problem. It's like we don't watch football any longer. It's like we haven't watched how quickly teams are scoring and realize, like, no, you want to score at the very end of the clock at this point if you're going to score, because otherwise you're in danger. Anyway, who cares? It's the Colts. Why do we care? Also, in addition this morning, Santino Quaranta, Baltimore soccer legend, now leads the Pipeline program. Former U.S. men's national team standout, Santino Quaranta, will join us. We'll talk a little World Cup with him. His daughter now plays at Loyola. I had the pleasure of calling her matches this fall, which is great. Santino, who's also very good looking. And any time he would come in studio with me over the years, we'd take a picture together. And then, like, all of the women in my life would be like, wow. And I'd say, thank you. Thank you. I wish you should tell me that more frequently. They'd be like, no, we mean the other guy. I'm like, oh, okay, I guess. KZ will join us for picks. And then Stewart Mandel from The Athletic, who was the first to report that Stanford has indeed reached out to Greg Roman about their head coaching vacancy. He, of course, covers college football, longtime college football writer, now with The Athletic. Stuart Mandel will join us a little bit later on. We'll also get you segment number 2 of the Tyus Bowser Show with Marcus Williams. That's all coming up this morning. Today's show brought to you by the all-new Ginsu Kamado Grill. Perfect ceramic home grill or tailgate for smoking, searing, baking, just grilling all sorts of food. It also works as a waste paper basketball receptacle if you're looking for one of those. We learned that on TikTok.
Well, when
this
I'm
week.
shooting.
Yes, not for me.
No.
That did not go so well. And by the way, Micah didn't get that, and I appreciate it because nobody could see. He just kept the camera on me.
Oh, when you missed
Nobody could see how badly I missed the shot. It actually worked out quite well for me. It was terrible. Yeah, if you follow us on TikTok at Glenn Clark Radio.
Stecca joined in on Facebook. He said he thinks you're handsome, Glenn.
Thank you, and you know what? Does anybody else think I'm pretty?
Yeah,
Is there
so
anybody
we
else
do.
who might
Yeah,
think
yeah.
that I'm pretty? Because I could use that today when I talked to Santino Quaranta. Anybody?
I had it muted.
Wow, we really nailed that. Glad. What a great setup that was.
You are so pretty.
Thank you, Carson. That means the world to me. He's coming back to hang out with us in a couple
Oh,
weeks,
cool.
and I like that.
Good.
Love me some Carson Weekly. Good dude. He's down at Ole Miss. I wonder how he feels about Lane Kiffin sticking around. We'll talk about that. I look forward to that. Anyway, what was I doing? I was talking about something. I was talking about the Ginsu Kamado Grill. Save $100 when you use the code TAILGATE. GinsuGrills.com. All right, two things. Yes, obviously the big news yesterday, this report from Stewart Mandel about Greg Roman. I'm in a weird place with this one. And that's why we're going to have him on today, because I want to, like, the words being used are like he's the only known candidate, which makes it sound like he's going to get the job, right? It's sort of like how Trent Dilfer gets I had not heard about other guys connected to the UAB job. All of a sudden, Trent Dilfer got the job. I don't know what to make of that. I don't know if it's that Stanford has zeroed in on Greg Roman or if it's just that Stanford is trying to figure out who they want to hire. Remember, this is a little bit different for Stanford. David Shaw allegedly, as of 2 games ago, was intending to come back. It wasn't until last week, as he says, and being home for Thanksgiving and being with his family that he just sort of decided, like, I think I want to do a little bit more of this. I don't think I really want to go back and keep coaching. So they haven't necessarily had as much time to prepare a list as other places like, oh, my God. You believe that story of Mickey Joseph yesterday? Holy crap. Imagine if Nebraska had hired him. Oh, my God.
Yeah.
This horrible. What a horrible story that is. But, like, Nebraska had months to prepare a search and to think about who they might want to hire. Now, whether or not they got the right guy in Matt Rule, I don't know. But they had plenty of time. Same with Wisconsin to start figuring out what they want to do. If David Shaw is telling the truth, if he wasn't telling people at Stanford in the last couple of weeks, hey, I'm actually thinking about this, you might want to start preparing. If this really did come down where he was sitting at home on Thanksgiving looking around and being like, man, this beats coaching football, then they haven't had the time to prepare. So Greg Roman being the first candidate or being the first person they've reached out to might be nothing more than just, hey, he's somebody that we've got some connection with. He was an assistant here under Jim Harbaugh. I did the bit that everybody always does the other way around, which is where they always call John Jim. It might be nothing more than just some familiarity and them reaching out. And that's sort of the way that John Harbaugh explained it yesterday. He said, I'm to understand it was kind of just exploratory. It's a weird spot to be in. Obviously, if you are a college team, you want to have your coach in place fairly quickly because there is a signing period and there's a December signing day now. So you want to get a coach hired about as quickly as possible for whatever you can salvage of a recruiting class, whatever you can do in recruiting. The difference being because you didn't fire your previous coach, it's possible that you could be looking maybe for the next coach to carry over some remnants of the previous coaching staff. David Shaw had a nice staff at Stanford, so it might very well be that if they are interested in Greg Roman, they'd be willing to say, like, hey, we don't need you right now. We can handle this. If you're willing to work with us and putting your staff together and keep a couple of people here that we think are important, then we can let them do the recruiting work, and you could sort of be the shadow coach. Ironically, we've talked a little bit about Biff Poggi the last couple of weeks, who took the job at Charlotte. Biff Poggi ain't there. Biff Poggi's working with Michigan right now. He's getting them ready for a Big Ten title game and presumably to try to go win a national championship. So, you can do this. Now, Biff could hire his own staff and have his own people in place in Charlotte in order to get that. But I think a lot of people yesterday immediately thought, well, if Greg Roman takes his job, it means he's gone tomorrow. I don't think that's the case. I'd be stunned if John Harbaugh would allow for that to happen. I think this is the weird part where because you guys don't like Greg Roman, you're envisioning, well, he's gone today. John Harbaugh clearly likes Greg Roman. I think I don't know how much more evidence there is of that. Unless for some reason John Harbaugh was legitimately thinking about firing Greg Roman, and there is no reason for us to believe that. Unless he was genuinely thinking about it, I don't think there's any world in which, even if Greg Roman were to get the Stanford job, that he leaves before the Ravens season has concluded. I think he flies out for a press conference. I think he's in that difficult spot of trying to do two jobs at once, where he's trying to put a staff together there and figure out what that looks like. But presumably Stanford would be working with him and some of the remnants from the previous staff in order to make sure that he's able to do that. So I just wouldn't get your hopes up too much if you're a Greg Roman hater, but this means that he might be gone immediately. But clearly, if he were to take the Stanford job, he would be gone no later than the end of the season. I guess there is some world where he just says, dude, it's way too important to me, and John Harbaugh, I don't know. I have no idea if there's a possibility that he could go immediately, but we'll see, and we'll talk about more with Stewart Mandel a little bit later on in the show. The point of all of this being, I don't know if he's going to get the job. And if he doesn't get the job, I've said a few times, to those of you that are bloodthirsty when it comes to Greg Roman, and there's a few of you, I think the Ravens are going to be in an interesting place at the end of the year, depending on how this goes. And I think it's the part that we always want to keep skipping ahead to. But if the Ravens go and win a couple of playoff games, right? Like if they go and let's just say in the first round they play, let's say it would go, I think we tried doing this math recently, right? Let's say they're the 3 or the 4 seeds, so they would face
The Jets? No.
Hey. Damn it, pull up what the playoffs would look like if they started today. So the Ravens and the Titans, I think the Titans still have, no, they lost on Sunday, so they have 4 losses as well. So the Ravens and the Titans would be sitting there. The Bengals, I think, would be the first, no, the Dolphins would be the first wild card, and the Bengals. So it could very well be that it'd be Bengals. It's totally possible that it would either be Ravens-Dolphins or Ravens-Bengals in the first round. So imagine a scenario where the Ravens beat the Dolphins. Then let's even project and say they somehow beat the Bills in the divisional round, even if they lose to the Chiefs in the championship game. Are you really making drastic changes? As an organization, are you drastically changing something about a team that just beat the Dolphins and the Bills in the playoffs and came up short against the Chiefs? It's not even going to be Super Bowl or bust. I don't know how this is going to play out. But if it goes the other way, and if, again, they fail to win a playoff game, or if they win a playoff game, let's say, it seems pretty set that it's going to be one of those teams, but I don't know, somehow whatever happens, the 6 seed ends up being, or the 5 seed ends up being.
It could be, I guess, the Chargers for whatever
The
reason.
Chargers,
Yeah.
whatever it was. And that's who you beat in the playoffs, and then you lose the next week. I don't know. I don't know what that looks like. I get it. You guys are bloodthirsty. I keep trying to tell you. It's a top 5 DVOA offense. It's a top 10 scoring offense. I don't know that this franchise is going to be in a hurry to move on from that. I don't know. I hear all of your arguments of, at some point, have you really accomplished something? I don't know. I don't know. I also know they don't have the personnel right now. Like, they've got a quarterback, and that's the list of things. A tight end, I'm sorry. They got a tight end for sure. That's the list of things that they have. There was a stat floating around yesterday from Josh Norris of NBC. We're going to get to Brandon Stokley here in 1 second. Josh Norris of, actually, I don't know if he's on NBC. He's at Underdog Fantasy now. That's where he is. Fortunately, NBC, slashed their entire fantasy staff. Great call, guys. Appreciate it. Good job. And he floated something out yesterday about Lamar Jackson and Rashad Bateman this season that I think sort of speaks to what a lot of us are talking about when it comes to what it is that Lamar is working with. And I think people, when they hear this, they sounded like they hear it as some sort of excuse. And you can call it whatever you want to call it. This is the reality. The reality of what the Ravens are dealing with is they have nothing. They have nothing. And even when they had Rashad Bateman, they at least had something. This is the number. Lamar Jackson had 10 touchdown passes in the 3 healthy games Rashad Bateman played to open the season, and just 7 touchdown passes in the 8 games since. Just presenting anything at the wide receiver position. Anything at all. And none of us think that Rashad Bateman is Justin Jefferson. Like Rashad Bateman. Show me a lot of good things. But none of us believe he's Justin Jefferson. 10 touchdown passes in the 3 healthy games Rashad Bateman played. 7 touchdown passes in the total of the 8 games since. If you don't understand, if you keep trying to pretend like the wide receiver thing doesn't matter, my God, particularly matters in the red zone. All right, today's show is also brought to you by your local Toyota dealer and buyatoyota.com. The Toyota Tacoma comes in a range of models and trim lines, so you can choose the perfect Tacoma to reflect your unique personality and driving habits. Check out buyatoyota.com for deals on new Tacomas from your local Toyota dealer today. Speaking of wide receivers, one of the best wide receivers in Ravens history, this man, of course, part of the Super Bowl 35 championship team that you're going to be seeing about in the 30 for 30 coming pretty shortly on ESPN. He's also now back out in Denver as a radio host, and every time he comes on with me, unfortunately, I have to bring up before he reminds me that he is one of the few football players that ever defeated me in a game of Pop-A-Shot basketball. He is our friend, Brandon Stokley, and he's back with us now here on GCR. Brandon, good morning, man. Thank you as always. How you doing?
Doing great. Thanks for having me.
Hey, man, it's great to hear from you, dude. What is it like doing radio in Denver these days?
Oh, it's depressing.
Yeah.
Excuse me. It's very depressing right now. You know, the expectations were sky high. It's been tough for Broncos country around here since post Super Bowl 50. Been looking for a quarterback for years, and it's like every year brings a new quarterback, and then not all of a sudden you had your quarterback. Expectations were high that this team was going to be able to go toe-to-toe with Kansas City in the division, and it just was going to be a great division with a lot of great quarterback play, and obviously it hasn't lived up to that. It's been worse than ever. That's the problem here. It's not even been close. It's been they're the worst scoring offense in the NFL, so it's been worse than before, which makes it depressing.
Brandon, Russ has become an easy punchline around the NFL, right? With all the Let's Ride stuff, with the commercials. Is it all on him? Like, is he, whether it's individual or even greater than 50-50, is this all on him just not being the same guy anymore?
Well, I mean, he doesn't help himself. It just seems like there might be a lack of awareness there.
Yeah.
With some of the stuff, like you said, that he does, and the social media posts, and it seems like it's all about the brand. And it's fine if you're winning and playing well, but once you start losing, and you're a big part of social media and you're a big part of your brand, people don't buy that. They don't like it, and it turns them off, and it turns them against you, and that's kind of what you're seeing with Russell right now. And obviously he's not playing well. I think there's a lot of different factors there. Everyone here is kind of holding their breath that he's not on the tail end of his career, and now this is going on the wrong. So, I guess time will tell on that, because right now it hasn't been good.
Obviously, I think a lot of us were watching the first night of the season and started sort of wondering about Nathaniel Hackett. It didn't get off to a great start. It clearly hasn't gotten better from there. I know, again, blaming somebody individually is tough when everything's going wrong, but is there anything that you've seen from Nathaniel Hackett that makes you say, all right, let's ease up? This guy is going to be able to figure it out at some point?
No, nothing, really, nothing. It's been bad. It's been really bad. So he's done. He's done. There's no chance that he can save himself now, because you invested a lot in Russell Wilson. You gave him gave up a lot for him and gave him a huge contract. So it's all about Russell Wilson. He's not going anywhere for the next few years. So
Sure.
It's all about getting him trying to play at a high level. And Nathaniel Hackett's not able to do that. So you can't run that back. What happens if you run it back with Nathaniel Hackett and you're 5 weeks in and you're seeing the same old? Now do you fire him? It just doesn't make sense. The new owners that just bought the team, they didn't hire Nathaniel Hackett. I just don't see any way possible that he's able to survive until next year.
Well, but other than that, everything seems to be going really well, man. Like, it just seems to.
great over here. I mean, it's great. Sun's out today at least, so it's everything is great, man.
You guys
There's no complaints at all.
You want a Stanley Cup. You can't have everything. That's the way that it goes around.
That's
here.
right. That was fun. That was definitely fun.
No doubt, man. He's Brandon Stokley, of course, former Ravens receiver, 104.3 The Fan out in Denver. Look, as we say all these things, I saw on your Twitter that you were watching the Ravens the other day. It's not like the Ravens have been perfect. They have blown 4 games this season in which they had multi-possession leads in the second half, which is, as you know, unheard of in this city. That is just not supposed to happen this way. The Broncos actually have a really good defense. Is there a world in which a Ravens team that has struggled could be in any amount of danger on Sunday against a Broncos team that at least presents something on one side of the ball?
Well, if you don't turn the ball over 3-4 times, no. Ball, you shouldn't have to worry about Sunday if you're a Ravens fan. Broncos can't score, and so unless you give them points, they just can't do it. They find ways to screw things up, whether it be penalties or turnovers or whatever.
Brandon, we lose you, man?
I don't see that. I'm sorry, I'm here.
You're good, man. I apologize. We got you back.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I just don't see a scenario where, unless the Broncos get about 3 or 4 turnovers, that they can win this football game. I just don't see it happening. The Broncos find ways to screw things up every Sunday. So I think you can sleep good Saturday night.
I mean, I hope you're right about that, but we felt that way with the Ravens going to Jacksonville on Sunday, and it didn't work out so well. The stuff that we saw on the field on Sunday with guys kind of being in Russell Wilson's face. There were reports this week about by the way, I can't imagine how much fun you're having trying to talk about a birthday party on the radio. I'm sure that's got to be thrilling, compelling radio. What do we make, if anything, of that? Is there a disconnect between Russell Wilson and the rest of this locker room?
It's hard for me to say. I'm not there. I'm not there every day, so I can't really speak on that. But you just gotta have an active working brain here to look at the situation and say, okay, this offense is really struggling. Defense is playing okay. And there's going to be some tension there when you're losing football games. And so you saw a little bit of that last week with their defensive lineman, Mike Purcell, yelling at Russ. What did they say? I don't know. But I think it just kind of takes you behind the scenes a little bit of some of the frustration that is there from especially some of the defensive guys when they're looking at the offense, and the offense is just not producing week in and week out.
I mean, I can only imagine. There's no way it can be fun. There's no doubt about that. There's just no way that it could possibly be fun to be a part of that right now. Do they have to retire the Let's Ride thing at this point? Like, I'm looking at the Broncos website and they got the banner up. They have to get rid of it, don't they? It's got to be too toxic. They have to come up with something else moving forward, don't they?
Well, that was Russ's. That was Russ's deal from the start. That was scripted. It was, he came into his first press conference, and it was all about Let's Ride. He's probably said it, felt like he said it 50 times. So it was very scripted, and that's what it goes back to. When you're looking at this and you're like, goodness, man, you're trying too hard here. And then it was after every game, even when they lost, even when they played bad, it was Broncos country, Let's Ride, and it's like, dude. Stop it.
Shut up.
No one cares about that. No one wants to hear that right now when you just got your butt whipped. So he has stopped that the last couple weeks, but we haven't heard that from him, thank goodness. So, yeah, it probably does need to be retired. It's probably like the earliest retirement ever.
It's over. It's past time. All right, now the important stuff. I know you weren't one of the featured guys in it, but did they let you see an advanced screening of the 30 for 30 before it airs this winter, or are you going to be watching it for the first time like everybody else?
Yeah, no, I haven't seen anything. I haven't heard about it. I know, you hear that it's coming out, but that's it for me. So I don't know unless they reach out to me and say I can get take a peek at it before. I'll probably be watching it just like everyone else. So I'm excited to see it. and kind of relive some of those moments that were so much fun.
Is there anything at all that you're nervous about? Like, is there anything, like footage that you remember, maybe something that you wore particularly? I remember the way that you dressed back in those days. Like, are you at all nervous about maybe some of that footage showing up in a 30 for 30, the entire country seeing it? Maybe even having to explain it to, like, your own children. Like, yeah, you know, Dad was a lot younger then.
Yeah, not really. I don't remember if I had the blonde frosted tips back then, so that probably wouldn't be what I'd want to see right now. But overall, no, not really. And I don't think they would give me enough airtime to really embarrass me, so I think I'm good.
I think they have to spend at least 20 minutes talking about the death of the white cornerback, don't they? I feel like that's got to be a major part.
What happened? That should be its own 30 for 30 right there, right? I mean, that's it right there. And obviously, I'm the one that made the white cornerback extinct.
You killed the white cornerback in this league.
I would be a big part of that one.
No doubt, man. No doubt about it. Everything else good with you, man?
Love it. Everything's good, man. I'm looking forward to watching the Ravens, and I've been following them. And
I saw you tweeting about them.
It's a little bit head scratching.
Yeah, like we talk a lot about the wide receiver here thing, man. I almost sound like a broken record. I hate saying it, but like, dude, I don't know how this keeps happening with this franchise, where they just continue to either miss or devalue or whatever it is at the wide receiver position, and we sit back and say, well, why are they struggling so much in the red zone? I'm like, well, I don't know. Maybe because it would be nicer to have better targets to throw to at that point.
Yeah, you look at it, and, I mean, there's no better situation to be in as a wide receiver than a Baltimore Ravens offense. Now, you might not get 50 targets, but you know what you're going to get? You're going to get man-to-man coverage. They're going to have 8, 9 people in the box trying to stop that run, and it just gives you great looks to get open. Now, you have to be able to beat man-to-man coverage. You have to be able to beat press coverage. And so that might be some of the issues there. The guys just can't win, you know, when it's one-on-one situations. But as far as being a receiver, I mean, there's nothing I look forward to more than seeing one guy in front of me and say, let's go. Me against you, you don't have any help over top. So that's part of the problem. I think there's, you know, when I watch, and I don't watch game in and game out every single week, but you know, I remember watching last year against the Dolphins, and you know, the Dolphins were bringing cover zero, giving different looks, different consistently, and the Ravens couldn't handle it. They didn't have a plan for it. It didn't seem like, and that was maddening for me to watch that go on. But it seems like there's too much gray area for me with that offense, and I say that, I mean, like, you know, receiver, quarterback, not quite on the same page. I thought you were going to do this. Well, I thought you were going to do that. And Lamar throws it here, and the receiver stops. And so I see too much of that, you know. And when I was with Peyton, that's one thing we never had, because it was always, everything was talked about. Everything, you know, in the meetings and on the practice field, it's like, you know, and he was the orchestra. He was the conductor, He was the conductor of the ship, and he told you how things were going to go. I want you to be here. This is how I want this to be done. This is what, when they give us this look, this is what you need to do. And so there was no gray area there. I just see too much gray area with this Ravens offense.
I hear he was okay, that Peyton fella. I hear he's decent at this. Can we get you, if you think it's a good place for receivers, could we get you, like, could you say Odell Beckham go to Baltimore so we could, like, tweet you and have you campaign for Odell Beckham to come to Baltimore then?
That would be a good spot for him. It really would. I mean, you know, you're looking for a receiver that can beat man-to-man coverage, and he is that guy. So, yeah, that would be a really good spot for him. I didn't see Baltimore on the list.
Yeah, there was like we were on the list and then off, and then Josina Anderson was like, well, they're still in the mix, but no, he's not on the world tour that Odell Beckham is scheduled to take, unfortunately. So I don't think it's going to work out. I think that's just the way it's going to go. All right, buddy. Brandon Stokley, 104.3 The Fan, out in Denver, where, my God, I can only imagine what the shows sound like these days. Like, just the depression. Hey, at least you're going to be able to get out of that contract, never.
Right, yeah, exactly.
What a rough time. At B Stokely 14 on Twitter is how you follow him. Love you, man. Always appreciate taking the time for us, dude. Happy or a Merry Christmas to you and your family, all right?
Yes. Appreciate y'all having me, and y'all take care, and looking forward to the next time. Thanks, buddy.
Thanks, bud. Brandon Stokley with us here on GCR. Great dude. Odell Beckham scheduling his visits, not a Ravens visit on the list. It was weird because we had kind of all put it to bed, and then Josina Anderson on Thanksgiving suddenly out of nowhere was like, well, they're still having conversations. Like, son of a bitch. Why you got to give me the hope?
He must have replied to a Ravens fan, so she was like, "Oh, okay, so."
No, Josina Anderson is a well-sourced reporter. She would not have said that based on that's not. Josina Anderson isn't.
That wasn't meant to be a dig interest.
There are a couple of dudes that have made a life out of just tweeting what other people are reporting, and who's the guy? Ari something or other.
Ari, My Sports Update.
And maybe the nicest guy in the face of the world. Maybe he does wonderful things for charity, but I hate everything about his existence. I'm so sorry. If he's a good person, I'm so sorry. But all he has ever done is create a Twitter account that just tweets things that other people have said and somehow has managed to stockpile billions. Now, I get it. Once upon a time, Mike Florio did the same thing with Pro Football Talk. I understand that aggregating is not new. But on Twitter, it's so much lazier. At least when Mike Florio did it, he would add in some insight. He would add in some thought. There would be a story written. On Twitter, you're literally just copying and pasting. That's it. God! And yet because you get so many followers, that dude has been able to get jobs. Am I jealous? Of course I am. I'd love to be able to do nothing and get jobs out of it. I work my ass off and make nothing. Yes, I'm jealous. Obviously I'm jealous. But it still stinks, and it's a statement about where we are as a society. You got another cloud I can yell at? I'd like to do that, if you don't mind. Hey, gambling can be fun, but you should set a limit and stay within it. And remember, if you or a loved one has a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER 24/7 or go to helpmygamblingproblem.org for free confidential services. When we come back in, we're going to switch gears, talk some soccer. Obviously, huge Saturday morning coming up. I don't know where I'm going to go to. I still haven't decided where I'm watching the match. I need you guys to tell me where you're watching the match. I need to know if there's a big event planned for Saturday morning. I want to be there. If it's outside, I will not be there. But other than that, I want to be there. We'll talk about it with our buddy Santino Quaranta, Baltimore soccer legend. He joins us next, Glenn Clark Radio. Looking for a simple holiday meal? Try Chick-fil-A catering. From Chick-fil-A nuggets to mac and cheese, enjoy a variety of tray options sized perfectly for your get-together. Order through the Chick-fil-A app and bring smiles to your family gathering. Availability and order requirements vary. See restaurant for details.
UMBC basketball is back at Chesapeake Employers Insurance Arena, and tickets are available now at umbcretrievers.com. Don't miss any of the great early season matchups as the men take on local rivals Morgan State on December 10th, while the women square off with American on December 18th. Experience the excitement of game day at the peak by getting your tickets right now to come see the Retrievers at Chesapeake Employers Insurance Arena. Lock yours in at umbcretrievers.com.
Come experience Maryland's #1 sportsbook this NFL season at the FanDuel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel, the ultimate place for any sports enthusiast. Take advantage of our 24/7 kiosks, massive video screens, and watch all the action from the best seat in the house. With more money paid out than anyone around, make every moment more at the new FanDuel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel in Hanover, Maryland. Please play responsibly. Gambling problem? Please call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit mdgamblinghelp.org.
The Baltimore County Police Department is hiring. Entry-level officers start at close to $59,000 a year with a $10,000 bonus. Some restrictions apply. Plus a great retirement plan, medical, dental, and vision insurance, advancement to specialized units, tuition reimbursement, 15 sick days earned per calendar year, and even further incentives for military members and veterans. If you have a passion for service and want a career for life, visit joinbaltimorecountypd.com or call 410-887-5542. You must be a United States citizen, possess a valid driver's license, and have a high school diploma or GED equivalent. The Baltimore County Police Department is an equal opportunity employer.
Make the most out of every day in your Toyota RAV4. Available in hybrid or gas-only models. A RAV4 can get you where you want to go in style. Check out buyatoyota.com for deals on new RAV4s from your local Toyota dealer today.
The latest edition of Press Box is available now. On the cover, New Maryland basketball coach Kevin Willard sits down with Stan Charles and Glenn Clark to discuss the situation he inherited in College Park and how he plans to get the program turned around. Also, inside, we introduce you to men's and women's college basketball players from all of the teams in the area. And Bo Smoka profiles Ravens receiver Devin Duvernay. Pressbox is available for free at over 500 area locations, including 60 Royal Farm stores, and you can always find the entire edition as well as the best daily coverage of the Orioles, Ravens, and Terps at PressBoxOnline.com.
Experience the best in Kamado Grilling, a complete outdoor cooking appliance. The Ginsu Kamado Grill allows anyone to sear, grill, bake, and smoke all types of food. Designed for efficiency and function, the Ginsu Kamado Grill upholds the enduring legacy of the iconic Ginsu brand. The Ginsu Kamado Grill is perfect to cook all year round, is great for parties, and ideal for tailgating with your friends. Reserve your Ginsu Kamado Grill today at ginsugrills.com and get $100 off on your pre-order when you use the promo code TAILGATE. That's ginsugrills.com. Reserve yours today.
Join Glenn at halftime of every Ravens game for the Project Game Day halftime show at facebook.com/PressBoxSports. We apologize in advance. There's not much we can do about his face.
Online sports betting is live. Get $200 worth of free bets when you make your first $5 bet with DraftKings. Go to PressBoxOnline.com/offers to see more about DraftKings and other sports betting promos and offers. I really like the way the DraftKings is doing theirs because it's 8 different $25 free bets, so you can't, like an idiot, maybe throw all $200 after one. You can. They're limiting you in the danger, the everything you could do to make that worse by making it 8 different $25 free bets. Again, go to PressBoxOnline.com/offers to learn more about that and other great sign-up incentives. Man, it's been too long since I've caught up with our next guest, and it's important because now it's crazy to me. I've known this guy for a long time, and he's always been good to me. He's come and hung out in studio and taken pictures despite the fact that I'm so good-looking, and it's obviously very intimidating for him to stand next to me. But now I've had the pleasure, as in my other role, one of my other roles, the play-by-play voice at Loyola, of getting to call his daughter playing soccer the last couple years, which has been really, really cool. He is in charge of the Pipeline program. He's a Curly alum, a Baltimore soccer legend, former U.S. men's national team standout. He is our buddy Santino Quaranta, and he's back with us now here on GCR. Santino, what's going on, man? How are you?
Glenn, what's up, brother? How are you?
Oh, man, of course I did the entire setup, and now our cord would fail. Santino, hang tight. I'm coming back to you, I promise. I did the whole thing. I gave him the big push. Santino, what's up, buddy? How are you?
You were good, man.
Oh, man.
It was good. It was really good.
Everything good, dude?
Can't complain, man. Just chugging along. How about you, bud? Good?
Everything is great, man. I can't tell you how cool it's been having Olivia over at Loyola, man. Like, it's definitely given me a moment where I've had to think about how old I am, by the way, which is tough. I don't much care for that. My sons are 7 and 5, so I'm not there yet. I can only imagine how much it's aging you. Thinking about that.
I am old.
Dude.
I am old now, man. We're getting old, but I tell you what, you do a great job, man. I enjoy. A lot of times I don't get to watch just live, and enjoy listening. Do a great job.
I appreciate you, man. I appreciate it. I know, and I know you got to coach her before she came over to Loyola. She was part of the program. Like, you've done so many things in your life, man, but how special is that, like, coaching your daughter and preparing her for her own, incredible soccer career?
Liv's a great kid, man, and one of the things that always happened with our relationship was it was really genuine, and she didn't get treated any different from me. I was always honest with her, but the one thing about her is you watch, she works really hard, and she does a lot of dirty work, and so when she had that, we were always it was never a problem attitude-wise. Her mentality, she's a good leader. So it's great, man. It was always fun, but it's even better now to be able to watch and see her kind of go off on her own and create her own little pathway. You know what I mean?
That's awesome, man. And you're right. She will sell out, dude. Like, she is not afraid.
A lot more than me.
Man.
A lot more than me, buddy. I told her that's not for me. Some of the tackles and headers and stuff, I said, it's not for me.
Well, when you're as good looking as you are, Santino, I understand. You couldn't mess up that face, bro. That's the moneymaker. Like, I understand how that works. Oh, dude.
I told her,
Yeah.
Post-game interviews, but it had to look good for the post-game
Exactly
interviews.
right, bro. And I know you did your own TV for years as well. Like, you had to make sure you had that moneymaker. All right, so here's my question. How excited should we be? And I asked this in the context. I was overjoyed by the effort that the boys put in over these 3 matches. Obviously, the second half against Wales stunk, right? Like, it was terrible. Unnecessary foul. They got their asses handed them in the second half. Fortunate they were able to come away with the draw. But they played, really well against England. How hard England was trying to get a goal, like, we can debate about that. And they gave an incredible effort against Iran. We just acknowledged that's the same Iran team that England beat 6-2 a couple matches prior, right? Like, how excited should we be about what we saw from these 3 matches, and how much should it make us believe that they have a chance come Saturday?
Really excited. We should be really excited and proud, because this is, like anything, these tournaments are very, very difficult. When you're in a tournament setting, it doesn't matter. Look, our expectations in this country for anything that we do, soccer, whatever sport, whatever we do, is always to be the best and to win everything, right? And if you fall short, somebody's doing something wrong. But there's a lot of intangibles that go into this stuff, the opponents, the referees, how each player feels, and a young team like that, to be able to perform at a level that they're performing, that's pretty good, right? And they're confident, and that's the one benefit of young players. This is what you look at Belgium. You look at these guys. Look, they're tired. They look not fun to watch, really, right? This tournament, but there's a lot of that's their golden generation. A lot of older players. This younger generation of players, they're fearless, man. Like the moment isn't too big. It's a tournament. It's another game, and. I tell you who else deserves a lot of credit, man, and he took a lot of heat, is Greg Berhalter, man. Yeah. He really does. And that's the reality of, like, allowing kids to perform and not, like, over-managing them and, kind of being on the same level as them and understanding who these kids are. And I say kids because they are kids.
No, it's a young team. There's no doubt about that. Santino Quaranta with us on GCR. To your point, Drew Forrest and I were talking about this yesterday. Like, look, I have to be honest with you, bro. I don't get why we're not seeing much of Gio Reyna. Like, it makes no sense to me. But to your point, the decisions that he's made, he has seemed to push all of the right buttons to get as much as you could possibly ask for from this group to this point.
For sure. Listen, the Gio Reyna piece is he's one of my favorite players, man, because of the way he plays the game and his arrogance and the way he drives the players. That's like, you can't teach what he has. And I can't question, I can question it because now I'm just being a fan. I can question, I'd like to see him, a guy like Haji Wright. I think that he's average, to be honest with you.
I get it. Yep.
But a guy like Gio Reyna, he's not average. He's different. And I like players that are different. And we don't know what's going on in that camp, right? You don't know how his attitude is in training. I've been there and understand, from the outside looking in, these players, why is he not playing? There's a lot that goes into it. How he's acting in the team room, there's a lot that goes into it.
I'm not going to try to compare you to Christian Pulisic because I get it. Like, he's almost no one, maybe Freddie Adu, in this country, almost no one has dealt with the burden that he's dealt with of being the guy that's been expected to lift an entire country up. But you definitely dealt with a lot of pressure. I mean, you were a phenom. You were someone that had a burden on you. When you see him get that moment, and I pray to God that he's going to be able to play on Saturday because, my God, do we need him. But what did that mean to you to see him finally break through for all the good that he's done? Now maybe starting to get a little bit of pushback because – he isn't Jesus in cleats necessarily. Like, to get that moment, what did that mean to you?
I was really happy for him because he does deal with a lot. But at the same time, Glenn, I'm going to tell you this, and this is just me being blatantly honest, is like, I would have expected him to, when they say selling out or your body, like, I would have expected him to have done that in training or anywhere else. This is just what we do. Yeah. Because what comes along with it is all the accolades. And I was telling my son this. This is something I'd expect him to do in training for free, right, at our training session, because that just shows your willingness to score. But now you're talking on a world stage. And Weston McKennie said it best. There's 24 other guys that would have done the same thing. And that's the way that it should be. He deserves it because he takes the most heat when they're not great, and when they are great, he scores, he deserves it. He deserves the accolades. But at the same time, the expectations, look, he's a player. He loves it, right? This is what we love. The pressure for him, if you don't have it, it's not worth playing, man. It's no fun.
I appreciate
and he loved
that.
it.
I appreciate that, right? Like this is what you're born for, and to say, hey, do this at all moments. Man, I love everything about it. So okay, now what's it gonna take on Saturday? I mean, this is a different animal, man. Like this Dutch team, I look at them. They're big. They're physical. What is the roadmap to them having a chance to pull this off on Saturday?
So the three games that they played in the group are going to be, or they were all different games, right? Different types of games. This game this weekend against Iran, the game that they were always going to be on the front foot of that game, right? They were always going to be on the front foot. They were better. There's no two ways around it. This game, you can go on the front foot and you can take chances and take risks, but you got to understand you're playing against world-class players and just chasing and pressing, and this is a whole different animal because the talent level is to the 10th degree now, right? And so these are sophisticated players that can hurt you and at any time. So there is a lot more tactically that's going to go into this game and to winning it, because over the course of 90 minutes, there's going to be ebbs and flows, and we're going to be on the edge of our seat and saying, why are they not doing this, or why aren't it? Because the average fan just doesn't understand that you can't go and press a Virgil van Dijk because he'll play right through you.
Yeah.
And these guys are so talented. And it's the same with us. We have players that if the Dutch these guys will hurt you, Weah, and they'll hurt you. So there's a tactical, sophisticated, small details that go into winning this game that the average fan just doesn't even understand.
Are you expecting for the U.S., like, whose defense has been very good? Like, obviously, the defense has been outstanding, and, you know, my God, I needed a cigarette after those last 20 minutes on Monday.
Sure.
I mean, that was unreal, right? But, like, are you expecting them to sort of say, hey, you know, 0-0 would be really good for us? Like, getting through 120 minutes and giving ourselves a chance in PKs would be incredible. Are you expecting them to maybe pack it in a little bit more and say, you know, if we get a chance, we'll take it, but we understand what we're up against?
It's not in their makeup, man.
Okay.
And so, like, it feels like to me, if you do that with these young kids and you go into, it's like horses you have to let them go and you have to let them express themselves, because if you go into it now on the high that they were off of Iran, and you hold these guys back, first off, it could be suicide, right? If you do that, if you let them have the ball for 90, they're going to break you down. They're going to hurt you.
Yeah.
If you have to make them uncomfortable, and you have to be, you know, if you look at the way, even yesterday, Poland played against Argentina, they got disintegrated, right? And you can't allow players just to play for 90 minutes like the Dutch and just dominate possession, because they'll hurt you. You get too tired. So I think they're going to have to go after them a little bit, and I wouldn't be surprised if we did. And I think they're beatable. I really do. I think it's a decent matchup for this team. I think that we're athletic in areas that it's critically important to be athletic in, if that makes sense. And I think that they're a team that likes to go, and it'll be interesting to watch the tactical piece of this whole thing.
To your point, man, Iran nearly broke through in those closing minutes, right? Like, I mean, they were holding on to their butts in those final seconds.
But think about why. Think about why they were playing a 5-4-1, right?
Right.
And this is what they're sitting in. And if you allow any team at the World Cup to just come at you and crosses in a box, it's inevitable that you're going to
go wrong.
This is just the way you do.
Yeah,
it can't happen. I mean, you got to, on the flip side, you have to make it uncomfortable for the other group. And I'm not saying for 90 minutes you're going to have to go and press, but you're going to have to, at some point, you're going to have to try and score.
I get
right?
it. I get it.
And that's the way it goes. That's my philosophy, man. And maybe that's why I'm, you know, I go for broke. And I'd rather watch these guys. Go for it and lose 6-4 than to sit in for, and this is our country's mentality too, right? I think the fans would appreciate these guys going for it and appreciate a performance that's like we're proud of, right? We're never proud to sit in a bunker and Go and do it.
If at the end you come up short, so be it, right? Like, so be it. You gave it everything you had in order to try to pull it off. It's a shame there isn't. Look, I'm not taking anything away from Matt Turner, who for the most part I think has played well. But remembering the last time we were in this position, it's a shame there isn't a Tim Howard back there to try to come away with 100 saves like he did against Belgium the last time the U.S. was in this spot. Man, that would be nice. Santino, what can we plug for you, bro? Like, where can people find out more about Pipeline? Like, what can we get a plug in for?
It's man, I tell you what, things are good. The Pipeline is wonderful. It's the ECNL, the youth organization that we have, has been great. A lot of college commits, just really cool stuff for the area, man. Nothing really to plug, just that we're always there for these players in the area.
Love you, man. It's so great to chat with you. So happy for all the success you continue to have and what you do for the soccer community in our area, brother. Enjoy it. We'll be in touch again soon. Hopefully there's a stunner on Saturday, and we got reason to talk more U.S. soccer before this thing is over, bro.
It'd be great, man. Be great.
Appreciate you. Thank you for doing this, dude.
Take care, brother.
Santino Quaranta. Man, love that guy. Great dude. Obviously incredibly talented player, and now working as a coach and doing amazing things. And just love seeing all the success he has had. And his family continues to have it. The Quaranta family is sort of like the dominant family when it comes to soccer in our area. Hour number 1 of today's show winding down. It's also been brought to you by your Baltimore area Chick-fil-A restaurants. Whew. Yeah, man, whatever it is that you're doing, you get your family together for like cookie baking day, something like that. My family does that. We get together for a cookie baking day. Entire family spends a Saturday in December baking all sorts of cookies. I eat no cookies. We take like one bag and we give them to my kids, and then we just donate the rest of them to whoever. I'm not even kidding. I'll probably bring them in here. Griffin will end up with a boatload of cookies. Great news for him.
Yes.
What's the line from Jingle All the Way? My cookies. No, those are my cookies. You've never watched.
No, I haven't watched Jingle All the Way. I mean, I know Arnold's in it.
It's not. It's a terrible film. But it's kind of a wonderfully terrible film. Like, it's a bad motion picture, but you get joy in how bad it is.
Gotcha. Okay.
Right?
So
like
almost like a black comedy.
Jeremy and I last year did our holiday special last year was we did a drunken table read of Jingle All the Way. It was magical. He did the Arnold stuff. I did Phil Hartman. It was a terrible film. I can't. It's a bad Phil Hartman. But as I got drunk, I think
good
it was all right.
if you did it right now, because I don't.
Yeah, you would have no idea. Yeah. Correct. Thank you. I appreciate that. We had such a good time, man. And I love doing that. Anyway. As I was saying, you get your family together for something around the holidays, whether it's that, maybe you guys go caroling, whatever it is that you're doing, let Chick-fil-A handling the catering. Everybody's going to be much happier that way. If you're looking for a simple holiday meal, try Chick-fil-A catering. From Chick-fil-A nuggets to mac and cheese, enjoy a variety of tray options, sized perfectly for your get-together. Order through the Chick-fil-A app. Bring smiles to your family gathering. Availability and order requirements vary. See restaurant for details. All right, KZ joins us next. We're going to make our picks, and I think we got some side bet action for our picks this week. At least 3 of us at the table. You can come back in if you lose, Brady. You can come back in and do another show. If you lose, you come back in. All right, very good. Yeah. So 3 of us at the table. Maybe we'll see if KZ wants to get in on it as well. See if Stetka. Well, no, he's in Arizona. Never mind. That won't work. Well, he probably has to come back to do something else. Maybe he could just kill 2 birds at one stone at that point. I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, we'll do picks next. Glenn Clark Radio.
Gambling can be a fun and entertaining experience, but there are risks involved. If you're planning on betting on the game at the casino or on your phone or computer, know your limit, stay within it. Set a budget and a time to stop. Remember, gambling isn't a financial solution, and it doesn't mix well with alcohol or drugs. Know the risks and have a plan before you begin gambling. For free and confidential services, call 1-800-GAMBLER 24/7 or go to helpmygamblingproblem.org.
Experience the best in Kamado Grilling, a complete outdoor cooking appliance. The Ginsu Kamado Grill allows anyone to sear, grill, bake, and smoke all types of food. Designed for efficiency and function, the Ginsu Kamado Grill upholds the enduring legacy of the iconic Ginsu brand. The Ginsu Kamado Grill is perfect to cook all year round, is great for parties, and ideal for tailgating with your friends. Reserve your Ginsu Kamado Grill today at ginsugrills.com and get $100 off on your pre-order when you use the promo code code TAILGATE. That's ginsugrills.com. Reserve yours today.
UMBC basketball is back at Chesapeake Employers Insurance Arena, and tickets are available now at UMBCRetrievers.com. Don't miss any of the great early season matchups as the men take on local rivals Morgan State on December 10th, while the women square off with American on December 18th. Experience the excitement of game day at the Peak by getting your tickets right now to come see the Retrievers at Chesapeake Employers Insurance Arena. Lock yours in at UMBCRetrievers.com.
Join the Maryland Jockey Club at Laurel Park for Christmastide Stakes Day on Monday, December 26th. An exciting day of live horse racing awaits you with a whopping 6 stakes races worth $600,000 in prize money. Plus, enjoy a specially curated stakes buffet, a delicious hot chocolate bar, and hot cider cocktails. It may be cold, but Laurel Park has plenty of horse racing excitement, food, and beverages to keep you warm. Don't miss Christmastide Stakes Day at Laurel Park. Visit laurelpark.com for more info.
Another Orioles season is in the books, and the Bat-Around was there every step of the way as the Birds posted their first winning season in 6 years. And after promoting 2 #1 overall prospects in Adley Rutschman and Gunnar Henderson, Mike Elias has said it's liftoff from here. Hi, I'm Paul Valley, and along with my co-host Zach Goodman, we'll be here every Saturday from 10 a.m. to noon all off season, discussing every signing, trade, and waiver claim as we navigate the cold winter months that lead to spring training. You can watch us at youtube.com/PressBoxOnline and Facebook.com/PressBoxSports, or listen live at PressBoxOnline.com/radio. And if you miss a show, you can find us anywhere you get your podcasts. So tune into the Bat-Around with Paul Valley and Zach Goodman every Saturday from 10 a.m. to noon right here at PressBox Sports.
Whether your focus is luxury and comfort, convenience and technologically advanced connectivity, or sporty performance and aggressive styling, we've got the perfect Highlander for you. Check out buyatoyota.com for deals on new Highlanders from your local Toyota dealer today. If you can't listen or watch live, you can subscribe to the show via Spotify, Amazon, or Apple Podcasts. Leave a 5-star review while you're there. Or, if lying isn't your thing, we'll take a 3.5-star review too.
The Comfort Classics menu is available at your neighborhood at Glory Days Grill. It features the twisted ribs and wings combo, the winter spinach salad, the citrus salmon, the mac and cheese bites. Go ahead and say it. The bourbon butter cake.
Oh, my God, it's so good.
Thank you, Griffin. I appreciate that. Mr. Richards meatloaf and so much more. You can pair it with a blood orange bourbon cider, Devil's Backbone cranberry smash. Get your order in at your neighborhood Glory Days Grills. Go to glorydaysgrill.com. That's the website. Of course, always the best place to watch, hang out, games. Glory Days Grill. Love them. All right. Love Ken Zalis. He's back with us now here on GCR. Dude, did you just fully go into the tank at this point? Like, are you trying to get a higher pick in next year's picks draft?
No. I'm just not paying attention.
I mean, like, what happened to you? I know last week wasn't wretched, but
last week wasn't terrible.
No, you were 4-5 last week, but like you were leading by a few games not that long ago.
I was.
You had a comfortable margin at the top of the table, and now you're 4 games back.
I keep taking the Ravens.
Oh yeah, well, it's been a problem for a lot of us. The only good news for you is we've all been taking the Ravens, and it has not been working out, except for Andrew Stetka, of all things last week.
It's a good strategy right now.
Yeah,
it's a good strategy.
No doubt about it. All right, KZ, you tell us if you want in for this one. So we are going to do a side bet. Young Brady, who's been interning for Press Box, is in studio with us this morning. He's a baseball player out at Stevenson, and he's going to get in on our side bet. Griffin's in for the side bet. I'm sure you noticed the Jaguars mascot on Sunday, because how could you possibly have not, correct?
Yeah, I'm out.
Oh,
nobody wants to see that.
That's the point, Ken.
Nobody
you wore a belly shirt in here one day.
I did. That's as far as I'm going.
You would have, I'm not saying only in the Speedo. You'd have a bodysuit on, like the mascot did, and then the Speedo.
Or up for consideration.
You got to give me a yes or no. Come on.
When are we doing this? Next week?
Whenever you'd be available, we'll make it work.
Okay. As long as it's not next week, then sure.
All right. Done. All right, so that's the deal. Brady, you're in?
I'm all in.
Brady's in. Griffin, you're in.
Yeah, I mean, why
and
not?
I'm in. Loser does a whole show, and there's going to be pictures on social media. Like, understand. Like, you can't just say, well, you only see the top half on social media.
I think I would look pretty good with it on.
Oh, listen to this guy. Listen to this. He's actually going to go out and buy one no matter what happens.
Yeah. He's not even going to do the bodysuit. He's just going to do it. Yeah.
So bodysuit American flag Speedo for a whole show, and we're going to put some pictures up on social as well for whoever loses. I don't know if this is going to be an Anti's thing, though, because I don't want to have to order more than one suit. So we might make this one.
Pick the Monday night game, or?
No, because we could all pick that the same way as well. We might make this I don't know. We'll have to think about a tiebreaker. We'll think about a tiebreaker afterwards, all right?
There's point total in the Monday night game.
Okay, I'm good with that as a tiebreaker. Point total in the Monday night game. I'm fine with that. That'll be our tiebreaker. All right, very good. Now, let's get into it. Of course, we have been doing this picks contest all season long. Right now, I'm sitting atop the table. I'm the only one that is at 500. No, I'm over 5. Oh, I'm over 500. Ha ha! I'm killing it. 56 and 55. Yeah, babe. If you've been betting with me this year, you've made money. How about that? 2 games clear of Paul Valley. 3 games clear of John Proctor. 4 games ahead of KZ and Kyle Ottner. Oh, wait. Proctor's checking in. Is he in? Is he in? Proctor's in! Hell yeah! Proctor's in, too. I love this. Proctor is also in. That's great news. All right. So, anyway, sorry. I got excited about that. Forgot we're doing a show here. KZ and Kyle are 4 games back. By the way, thank you to Kyle Ottenheimer. He got in.
KZ's all the way to 4 games back.
He's 4 games back. Wait, did you miss it when I said that to begin with? Kyle got into the raffle today. Thank you, Kyle. I love me some Kyle Ottenheimer helping up mission. Griffin is 5 games back, and the Vice Worm, Stecca made a game up on him last week, so Stecca's back within 8, and it's going to be difficult, but not impossible. You lose 2 games this week, all of a sudden, it's all NFL picks for the most part after this. I guess we pick the college football playoff, and we'll pick the Army-Navy game next week, but mostly NFL picks the rest of the way. 3 college games, 6 NFL games. By the way, at the top of the table, playing for a little bit of cash. At the bottom of the table, playing to avoid being the worm. Got to eat a worm burger. Got to come in here and perform Scotty Too Hottie's famous worm while also getting a stink face Rikishi style and dress as the worm, Dennis Rodman, in full wedding dress regalia. That's what's at stake. And this week, of course, our side bet, the dress like the Jaguars mascot as well. All right, where are we starting?
We are starting with college football. No Maryland this week because it's championship weekend. But we will start Friday night, 8 o'clock on Fox. The Pac-12 championship can be played in Las Vegas at Allegiant Stadium between the Utah Utes and the number 4 ranked USC Trojans. USC -2.5 is the line.
So the bit here, of course, is that Utah beat USC in the regular season, right? And so that's the reason why the line's so small, because otherwise you look at a USC team that's played really well, a Utah team that's kind of stumbled a little bit, and you'd say, why is that only a 2.5-point line? And it seems like it's entirely because Utah beat USC in the regular season. I don't know, man. Maybe I'm dismissing that too much. It was not that long ago. Like, it wasn't like it happened week 1, but it was legitimately 7 weeks ago, and it was a 1-point game at Utah. I'm not going to read too much into it. USC's playing too well. USC is the pick.
I hate betting against Utah.
Why?
Especially in big games. If they just
you remember they lost to Florida, right? Like, and Florida lost. Florida lost to Vanderbilt.
I get it. I just don't like betting against them, and especially as it seems like they hiccup early, and then at the end they're always that team that is like, oh, they're better than I thought they were. But I'm not going to get cute this week. With everything on the line, and since the line is so small, under a field goal, I'll just take USC.
All right, Brady, we'll let you go next. Who's your pick?
I'll take USC.
USC, very good.
Right. Yeah, I think Caleb Williams slams the door on the Heisman, and I think USC wins as well. I got all USC pickers over here.
Here we go. Andrew Stecca taking a chance. He is on Utah. I get it. It's got to be bold.
Hey.
Got to see where you can find some. He went 1-1 as a lone wolf last week as he got the Ravens game, but he missed on. He picked against USC last week as well. He picked Notre Dame. Did not work out for him. He's 7-4 as a lone wolf on the season.
Next up, Big 12, the Dr. Pepper Big 12 championship game.
Oh, that means we get to see the push passes, right? At halftime.
Yay.
The return of the chest. God, I hate that. How have they not outlawed chest passes in those competitions yet? I hate it so much.
It's the only championship game with a sponsor with a corporate sponsor on the
I'm
name.
sure that's not true. I'm sure they.
No, I was looking at all the other ones.
All
It's
right,
just the Conference USA Championship,
right,
whatever.
Go ahead.
Dr. Pepper, Big 12 Championship between the number 10 Kansas State Wildcats and the number 3 TCU Horned Frogs. It's at noon on ABC. TCU -2.5.
Again, that line's small enough. If that was a bigger line, I might be willing to bet TCU, for the most part this season, has not been pounding their opponents. But again, playing well, too much at stake. I can't do it. I'm not even saying it's impossible that Kansas State beats them, but I just can't do it. Give me TCU.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. Kansas State's one of those teams that just plays close games even when they lose, it seems to me. But with everything on the line, and TCU's blown out a few people this year.
I mean, they killed Iowa State last week. I mean, they murdered them. But
and like Texas and things like that. So they
didn't blow out Texas at all. It was like 17-10 or something like that.
Well, it felt better then.
They blew out Oklahoma, though. I do remember that. I remember they blew out Oklahoma.
So did lots of people this year.
That is fair. Yep.
But I'm just going to take TCU, everything on the line for them.
Brady?
Yeah, I'm going to do TCU, too.
All right, we're going to need to pick some games differently.
Don't worry, I'm picking them differently. I got K-State in this one. I think TCU goes down. They're out of the playoff. Ohio State sneaks back in. So I'll take the Cats outright.
Ooh.
Sounds like an Ohio State fan talking.
Yeah, it's weird, right? What a weird bit.
A Big Ten fan.
I'm still not even certain that they would be out and if they lose. I get it. I do think Ohio State is better than TCU if they lose, but I don't know. That's interesting.
I think the committee wants Ohio State in.
Okay.
So Glenn's on TCU. I have K-State. Paul TCU. Proctor on K-State. Kyle on K-State. Ken and Brady on TCU. Stecca is?
Oh, terrible news. I'm so sorry. K-State for Andrew Stecca. So sorry. Well, oh, boy. I'd start. What size do you wear exactly, Griffin?
What size Speedo?
Yeah. All right. I know because I had to wear a Speedo earlier this year.
I'll make it. I guess I'll make it work. Whatever.
All right. I think it was one size fits all for what it's worth.
Final college game, SEC Championship. The number 14 LSU Tigers are going to Atlanta. The game is played at Mercedes-Benz Stadium against the number 1 ranked Georgia Bulldogs. UGA -18.5.
I hate that, man. God, that number's so big. It's so big. There's so many ways this could go sideways. I know they're begging for you to bet LSU, and I'm going to be a rube for doing it, but it's 18.5 points, man. LSU.
They're just begging everybody
I know.
to take LSU. I actually thought it was a typo when I saw it. I almost wrote back. I was like, really? And then I looked online. I'm like, wow, it's 18.5. Again, I'm not going to get too cute here. I think LSU was one of the most fraudulent teams all year, and they won a big game here and there.
Last week kind of backs it up. I hear you.
Yeah, I just didn't see it this year, and I truthfully until last week I was like, why are they so high? They have 2 losses. It's like I don't remember them being good. I'm just going to take Georgia, and they're the best team in the country.
I hear you.
You know, I'm just going to do it.
Brady?
I'm going to go with them. I'm with Georgia, too.
All right. Some separation here. That's good.
Yeah, I mean, I can't go off Georgia either. I don't really know anything about LSU. I would have rather picked, the MAC championship or the USA championship.
Nobody asked you. Nobody asked your opinion about the subject.
And so I feel like I feel like Georgia's going to win by exactly 18 or something.
I just got really bad news.
But I'm taking Georgia.
LSU.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Andrew Stecca's on LSU.
So Glenn and Paul Valley is with you, and Andrew Stecca.
I mean, I don't mind being Paul. That's fine, but the Andrew Stecca thing is just devastating. It's a real devastating blow for me.
To the NFL on Sunday, New York Jets at the Minnesota Vikings. That is at 1 o'clock on CBS. Vikings -3.
I know we're all drunk on Mike White at the moment, but this is 1 p.m. Kirk Cousins, baby. You're not getting me to pick away from that, the Vikings.
Only 3 on the road. Wow, everybody buying into this Jet thing. I'll take Minnesota. I don't think this is going to be relatively close.
Brady?
I'm going Minnesota.
Minnesota as well for Brady.
Yeah, me too. I feel like at worst, I feel like it's a push somehow for whatever reason. I don't think Mike White's very good at all. I want to see Joe Flacco. If Joe Flacco was playing, I might have to think about it. But I could clean sweep Vikings. Everybody's on the Vikings.
Including Andrew Stecca.
He's not even taking
which is how you know we're all wrong. We're all
I'm going. I am putting some money on the Jets this weekend.
I would do that immediately.
To the
PressBoxOnline.com/offers. Take advantage of all of the wonderful sign-up offers available from FanDuel and DraftKings and BetMGM and Barstool and all of the various betting houses. Because that if we're all on the Vikings, then there's no way. There's
it's 1 p.m.
no
Kirk
way.
Cousins. There's no way he.
I hear you. PressBoxOnline.com/offers.
To back to New York, Washington Commanders at the New York Giants, 1 o'clock on Fox. Giants are getting 2.5 at home against the Commanders.
What a world we're living in. What a world we're living in. The haters can't stand us. Left hand up.
Who are we?
I'm picking the Commanders. Because I'm finally out on the Giants is really what it's like. I rode with the Giants for a little while when everybody else said they were frauds. I said, nah, man, you're not frauds. I get it. The stats don't say they're that good, but they're winning games. It's over. It's over with them, and I don't know how to explain it. It's the Commanders' defense is playing really well. Brian Robinson is a monster, and, it helps to have a wide receiver. Having just one wide receiver, amazing what that can do for somebody. I don't think Taylor Heineke's very good, but he's got one wide receiver. The Commanders, despite the fact that they are road favorites. That's my pick.
Yeah, I agree with everything you said, but it's a divisional game. I'll take a road dog in a divisional game. Give me the home dog. Yeah. Sorry, the home dog in a divisional game. I don't think the Giants are as good as they were as when everybody was in love with them, and I certainly don't think that the Commanders are that good. So with Taylor Heineke, so I will take the New York Football Giants.
Brady,
I'll take the hot team. I'll go with Washington.
Washington Commanders.
I'm taking the Football Giants. They just cover for some reason, so I'll take it.
Okay, not every game, but
they do a good job of covering. Glenn on Commanders, Paul on Commanders, John Proctor on Commanders, Brady on Commanders, then myself, Ken, and Kyle on the Giants.
Andrew Stecca is on the Giants. Suck it. Next.
Tennessee Titans at the Philadelphia Eagles, 1 o'clock on Fox. Eagles land 5.5.
This one's, to me, maybe the toughest pick of the week. Like, I know the Titans were a disappointment last week, but I still think that they have the ability to get teams to play to them. And the Eagles, of course, want to be a team that runs the ball, too. I think the Eagles have struggled a little bit recently. I'm going to regret it, but Titans.
I agree with you. This was the toughest game. Well, second toughest game to pick for me this week. I just think one team. I still don't believe in the Tennessee secondary, and I know the everybody. Last week all they wanted to do was run the Eagles, but they have some really good wide receivers, two very good wide receivers. And a quarterback that could get him the ball. I can see this as easily as just a good back and forth, but in the end, a touchdown game, and I'll take the Eagles.
Brady?
See, I'm a big Derrick Henry guy.
Oh, man, who isn't?
I mean,
he's a big guy, too, for what it's worth. He's a big Derrick Henry guy.
But Philly's better team.
Okay.
I think.
All right. It's 5.5.
I'm going to have to go with Philly.
All right. 5.5. He's taking the Eagles.
Yeah, I don't feel great about it either, but it just feels like a weird game, so I'm taking the Titans as well. Hopefully they can, keep it close. Glenn, myself, and Paul on the Titans, and then John.
Oh, no! No! Andrew Stecca also on the Titans.
I am matching with him way too much this week.
That's bad news.
So John, Kyle, KZ, and Brady on the Eagles.
All right. Next
into the 4 o'clock window, the Miami
By
Dolphins.
The way, picks are also brought to you this week by the FanDuel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel Maryland. You're looking for somewhere to watch the soccer match Saturday morning, 10 a.m. You're going to want to be in the FanDuel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel Maryland. Of course, you can bet not only in your app but also on the self-service kiosks there. Be an incredible atmosphere. It will be packed. And then stick around afterwards because they will be showing the Tyson Fury-Derek Chisora fight, which is only available if through subscription. So you can watch it for free and bet on it in the FanDuel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel Maryland. Email events at sportssocialmd.com in order to reserve your spots.
So Mike McDaniel and Jeff Wilson, homecoming game to play Kyle Shanahan and the 49ers.
Yes.
I was about to say in Candlestick, but that's obviously not right.
No, definitely not that.
Game's at 4:05 on Fox.
In Santa Clara, which is nowhere near San Francisco.
Niners -3.5 is the line.
Yeah, this is tough. I mean, again, boy, I said the last one was the toughest game of the week. This one's tough, too. And the reason why this one is tough is because the 49ers defense has been insane. It's easier to be insane against the Saints than it is to be insane against the Dolphins. But I don't think the 49ers have allowed a second-half touchdown since, like, October or something. I mean, it's ridiculous what they're doing defensively. But this sort of falls back to you give me a good football team getting points. Like, I don't think it's impossible the Dolphins could figure out a way to win the game. And so if I'm getting points, I kind of have to roll with it. I might regret it, but Dolphins is the pick.
So I don't know if this is a switch of what I sent at the wee hours of the morning, but I'm gonna take Miami here. I actually don't know how San Francisco is gonna score points. They're really banged up on the offensive side of the ball. It's not like they're gonna win a shootout, in my opinion. I don't think McCaffrey is going to play this week, which probably means that Mason is the starting running back this week for them. And I agree with you. I mean, Miami is a good team. Their defense is the part of the team that nobody gives anybody any credit for, but their defense is pretty good. I'll take the points and I'll take the Dolphins.
Brady?
Speed kills Miami.
All right.
I got the Dolphins as well. Half their team's on my fantasy team, too.
It's important. Yeah, you kind of need it. Right?
Everybody's on the Dolphins except for Paul Valley III.
Oh.
He is on the 49ers.
He's a lone wolf this week.
He is lone wolf.
Andrew Stecca is also on the Dolphins, which is terrible news for us.
Although maybe Andrew Stecca's getting hot, like he was last week.
He was like 5-4 last week. Let's not oversell it.
Let's not oversell it.
Yeah, by Andrew Stecca standards, I get it.
For this group standards.
Yeah, fair.
Yes.
Kansas City Chiefs.
By the way, that Dolphins 49ers game, nobody in the country is going to see it.
Great, yeah,
just a bang-up job by the NFL of scheduling that game at 4:05 and instead giving us Colts Cowboys on Sunday night and the Buccaneers Saints on Monday night. Just a joy that we don't get to watch that game. Well done, NFL.
The Chiefs at the Bengals. This one is 4:25. We'll be able to watch it. CBS. Bengals are getting 2.5 at home.
Yes, Titans Eagles would have also been a pretty good national TV game.
Yeah.
Well done. Nobody gets their product the way the NFL
love the
does.
Titans. I love watching the Titans.
Yeah, they're good. Derrick Henry's a fun team to watch.
Tough.
Yeah,
they're tough.
All right, Chiefs Bengals. I know that we never picked the Chiefs to cover. So what's the story in Jamar Chase? Do we know?
He's in.
He's in. Son of a bitch.
I have him on the fantasy.
This is really difficult now. Like, it's very tough to pick against Mahomes because essentially you're picking him to lose at that point, right? Like, when the line's 2.5, if it was 3.5, it's obvious, right? You pick the Bengals. At 2.5, it's not like the Chiefs couldn't win 29-27 or something like that, but you're essentially saying you think there's at least a reasonable chance that the Bengals are winning the game, which would be devastating to the Ravens because we've kind of looked at this and said, here's how the Ravens can create some more separation again in the North is because they still have to play both the Chiefs and the Bills. I want to do it. I can't do it. Chiefs is the pick.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. It comes down to with it under 3, who do you think is going to win the game? And it could be a shootout. Neither defense is too great. I'll take Kansas City in the shootout. So nothing to do with nothing to do with the Ravens, nothing to do with all that stuff. Just who's going to win the game, and if it's a shootout,
of course,
I'll take Mahomes.
We remember the last time these two teams played, it was the Bengals who came out on top.
It was.
Brady?
I'll third it, Kansas City.
All right.
All right. I'm gonna differ because it just feels weird. Kansas City's not a great covering team. They're probably gonna be a ton of missed field goals.
Normally
in
the
this
line
game.
isn't 2.5.
Yeah. I'm gonna take the Bengals.
All right.
It just feels.
Say it again.
Feels weird.
Say it again. Who are you taking?
The Bengals.
The Bengals.
Yeah.
He's taking the Bengals. I always love that.
And at the moment, I am Lone Wolf.
You are. Go ahead. Give it a howl. There he is, Lone Wolf Griffin
Bengals.
on the Bengals this week. And finally, by the way, we are going to pick the final score of this game. Total points in this game is going to be the tiebreaker.
Okay.
All right.
So it is Broncos at the Ravens. 1 o'clock on CBS. Ravens minus 8.5.
Boy, do I hate that. Boy, do I hate that. I get it. There is no reason to pick the Ravens to be covering 8.5 against anyone, except for maybe the team that has Russell Wilson and Nathaniel Hackett. That is the only saving grace here. Ravens is the pick. I will say 20-7, so 27 total points will be my number. Oh, crap. Whoever's picking last has to write their number down, so they can't just pick. Griffin, you have to write your number down so you don't just get to pick an over and under. All right. Ken?
This is the one that was the most difficult for me. This number is awful. There's no reason to pick the Ravens for any reason to cover a spread right now the way they're playing. But it's the
Broncos.
It's the Broncos. They're just there's no reason they should be this bad, yet they are. And we're in week 13, folks. You are who you are.
Yep.
20-10 Ravens.
All right, so you're going with the cover and 30 total points.
Proctor needs to send someone his number.
Oh, crap, right? Yeah, I do need a total points number from Proctor. All right. Go ahead, Brady.
So I'm going to take the Ravens.
Uh-huh.
But in terms of points, I don't know. The Broncos offense, I want to give them points, but at the same time,
we think it's going to be a shutout.
I can't imagine that they're going to be scoring that much. So
all right.
I'll go 17-13 Ravens.
Well, you can't do that because Ken already took.
Well,
30.
then you're taking
Ken already took 30 total points. Yeah, you would. Yeah, that's right. You would be taking the Broncos to cover if you went with 17-13.
That's true.
You might want to go like 17-7 if that's the case. That would be a cover, and would be a number that would work.
No, yeah.
All right, 24 is your number.
But that's a good way to do it, though.
Yeah,
you cut the difference there.
Yeah, I was ready to just jump off the Ravens after last week, but I mean the Broncos are so bad, and I think it might be another 13-3 game, and that's enough for a cover. But I actually think it's going to be 26-10. 36 is my
36
number.
Is Griffin's number.
Okay.
That's Griffin's number.
Yes.
All right. What does everybody else have?
Yeah, that's right. I got to do that. John Proctor is on the Broncos.
He is, and by exactly 8 points. He's got the Ravens at 24-16. 24-16. So he's got the highest total of anyone at 40 points. So if somehow this turns into a shootout, good news for John Proctor if this ends up mattering.
Who does Stecca have?
By the way, but Proctor also points out we could have let Brady hedge his bets. Like that would have been an option, but no, that's no fun. That's no fun. Stecca also has the Broncos. Bad news. I'm so sorry, Proctor. Terrible news for you. Stecca's got the Broncos. Although he was the only one of the Jaguars last week, for what it's worth.
Yeah.
All right. Very good.
We'll see.
Those are our picks for the week. KZ, love you, buddy. We'll talk to you next Thursday. You're saying you can't come in next week. It'd have to be the following week.
Yes.
All right. We'll talk about it. All right. At Fans Fantasy on Twitter.
Yeah. My day. This is like I'm in Florida right now at a soccer tournament, so it's like it's all the days. I don't know what even days of the week it is right now.
Enjoy the soccer, and since you're in Florida, I don't know, enjoy some bath salts or something like that.
I guess.
Thank you, pal. Love you, buddy. That's Ken Zalis.
Take care.
At Fans Fantasy on Twitter. We'll get picks up at glennclarkradio.com here in a moment. They were also brought to you by this print issue of Press Box, which is available right now. Kevin Willard's on the cover. I don't know if you've heard, Maryland basketball is off to a pretty good start. By the way, cool thing they did, they slashed tickets for the upper deck seats on Friday night. I think they're only like $20 now. So they're trying to get a packed crowd for Friday night. If you got no plans, maybe wander down to College Park, 9 o'clock tip-off against Illinois. But go pick up this print issue of Press Box with Kevin Willard on the cover for free at your neighborhood Royal Farms and the hundreds of locations around town where you find Pressbox. Read it all, PressBoxOnline.com. Greg Roman be leaving Baltimore for the Stanford job. Stewart Mandel from The Athletic joins us next. Glenn Clark Radio. Join the Maryland Jockey Club at Laurel Park for Christmastide Stakes Day on Monday, December 26th. An exciting day of live horse racing awaits you with a whopping 6 stakes races worth $600,000 in prize money. Plus, enjoy a specially curated stakes buffet, a delicious hot chocolate bar, and hot cider cocktails. It may be cold, but Laurel Park has plenty of horse racing excitement, food, and beverages to keep you warm. Don't miss Christmastide Stakes Day at Laurel Park. Visit laurelpark.com for more info.
Come experience Maryland's #1 sportsbook this NFL season at the FanDuel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel, the ultimate place for any sports enthusiast. Take advantage of our 24/7 kiosks, massive video screens, and watch all the action from the best seat in the house. With more money paid out than anyone around, make every moment more at the new FanDuel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel in Hanover, Maryland. Please play responsibly. Gambling problem? Please call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit mdgamblinghelp.org.
The weather outside is really unpleasant, so it's time to warm up with some comfort classics this winter at your neighborhood Glory Days Grill. Try the Twisted Ribs and Wings combo. It's 2 full pounds of meat, the mac and cheese bites, Mr. Richards meatloaf, the citrus salmon, the winter spinach salad, and for dessert, here's internet radio personality Griffin Bass to tell you about the bourbon butter cake.
Oh my God, it's so good.
Pair it with a blood orange bourbon cider or a devil's backbone cranberry smash. Place your order now at glorydaysgrill.com. Glory Days Grill. Great food, good sports.
That first sip. That first bite. Start your day off right with a delicious breakfast at Royal Farms. Choose from a fantastic selection of fresh Royal Farms breakfast sandwiches and top it off with a rich hot cup of the freshest coffee in the world. At Royal Farms, breakfast is available day and night. It's the freshest breakfast in the world. Real fresh, real fast. Royal Farms.
Stan the Fan here, welcoming back one of my favorite sponsors, the Costas Inn. And everybody around Baltimore knows the Costas Inn is a great place to go and grab crabs, steaks, salads, soups, whatever's on your mind to eat in person. But did you know that the Costas Inn has upped their game? They are now one of the premier takeout places in Baltimore. Give them a call now to order your food, 410-477-1975. That's the Costas Inn, over 4100 North Point Boulevard.
Looking for a simple holiday meal? Try Chick-fil-A Catering. From Chick-fil-A nuggets to mac and cheese, enjoy a variety of tray options sized perfectly for your get-together. Order through the Chick-fil-A app and bring smiles to your family gathering. Availability and order requirements vary. See restaurant for details.
Tune in to Simply the Bets every Tuesday and Weekend at Bookies every other Thursday at 11:40 a.m. And if you really have nothing better to do, keep listening to this show too.
All right, back in here on GCR as we continue on a Thursday edition of the program. Today's show is also brought to you by our friends at UMBC. What a huge win they got last night, man. I think they're still hitting threes somewhere right now. Man, they were on fire last night in their win over Coppin. They got another big rivalry game coming up in December, which, of course, today is the 1st of December, so it's only a couple of days away as they'll host Morgan State on December 10th. You got to experience game day at the Peak. The women take on American on December 18th. You can get your tickets for both those games at Chesapeake Employers Insurance Arena right now by going to umbcretrievers.com. That's umbcretrievers.com to get your tickets to check out UMBC hoops. All right. Obviously, big story that had a lot of reverberations here in Baltimore yesterday. As first reported by our next guest, Greg Roman has discussed the head coaching vacancy at Stanford. Joining us now, the man who was the first to report it, longtime college football writer. Now see him at The Athletic. He is Stewart Mandel, and he's back with us now here on GCR. Stewart, it's Glenn in Baltimore. It's great to chat with you as always, sir. Thank you for taking a couple of minutes for us.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. As you would imagine, this was quite the kind of bomb in our community yesterday. In this market, it was all anybody was talking about. What more can you tell us besides the tweet? Like, John Harbaugh kind of described it. He was very passive about it. This is exploratory. Do we know anything more about, like, the interest level between Stanford and Greg Roman?
I think from what I've been told by somebody close to him, Greg Roman's definitely interested. It's hard to say. Like, I think they've just had a preliminary conversation at this point. Certainly Stanford's going to be looking at a lot of different candidates. So it's too early to say where he stands in that race. Only that, it's definitely a possibility.
Though that was the thing, we were talking about this earlier. As to we're to understand it based on, and I read your story about it, that it's not like other schools where they've had a couple of months to think about who the candidates would be. This really does seem to have sort of come very organically with David Shaw over the last few days. So Stanford may be still in the process of even gathering who they want the candidates to be for the job, right?
Yeah, not only that, most, let's just say big football schools, when they have a coaching opening, are in a total rush to get somebody in place for the early recruiting period. Stanford, being Stanford, they put together a search committee. They'll probably have to. Professors will probably interview the candidates, so I don't think it'll be a quick process.
Stewart Mandel with us here on GCR. It's interesting you bring that up, right? Because there was a lot of that going around. Well, if he takes the job, then he might have to be out next week. Like this doesn't seem to be something that they are in a rush for, or that would necessarily require Greg Roman leaving Baltimore before the NFL season was over.
Well, that's the interesting thing about this. First of all, I can't imagine he would leave Baltimore early. That's just that doesn't happen in the NFL, right? I mean, college, Luke Fickell takes the Wisconsin job and he's already out of Cincinnati, right? Like, he's done, he's gone. But NFL coaches, I believe, have to stay out the rest of the season. So if he or any NFL coach were to get that job, it would be really
I apologize. We had a little bit of an issue there. The connection was. Oh, sorry, Stuart. We're back. We lost you there for 1 second, but we got you right back.
I was just saying that, it would be hard for any NFL coach if they got that job or another head coaching job to balance, their weekly prep and everything with, you got to start calling recruits. You got to put a staff together. It's a very daunting, first couple months.
I mean, it's incredibly difficult to do both things at once, but, to your point, unless for some reason, and I know there are some Ravens fans that are hoping this might be the case, but, I don't necessarily share that opinion. Unless for some reason the Ravens were looking for a reason to move on from Greg Roman. To your point, I absolutely think they would want to keep him around. Does Greg Roman make sense for Stanford? Like, obviously his offense and maybe some of their limitations, like, you can see it. He's got the connection there. Those things make it make sense. But I don't know what Greg Roman is as a recruiter. I don't know if he's dynamic in that way. Like, does he make sense for the Stanford job?
Yeah, the interest, I think, is almost entirely because of what he did at Stanford under Jim Harbaugh more than a decade ago, much more so than what he's doing with the Ravens. Because as you said, it's almost a completely different skill set. And oftentimes we don't see, just like college coaches, like Matt Rule, don't do very well in the NFL most of the time. A lot of NFL coaches struggle once they get to college because it's a completely different job. Recruiting being obviously the biggest difference. Now you've got to deal with NIL, which is a new frontier in college football. So it's hard to say, but I can tell you that there's a lot of Stanford fans who would love to kind of get the band back together because they still have such reverence from that Harbaugh period. Vic Fangio was the DC under Harbaugh. So you had Greg Roman with the OC, Vic Fangio was the DC. Vic Fangio's looking for work right now.
Right.
And I've seen him on the sideline at Stanford games this year. So they would love Stanford. I have no idea if this is realistic. The Stanford fans would love some sort of scenario where they get both of them.
Wow, that's really interesting. The interesting part to me, Stuart, I almost compare it to when Georgia Tech hired Paul Johnson, which is if you're Stanford and you have some limitations because of how difficult it is to get into the school, and by the way, obviously they had great success football-wise for a number of years, but if there are some limitations, perhaps you kind of get over that by saying we're going to do something a little bit different. We're not going to try to have a very prolific pass offense. We're trying to find a more specific style. And what Greg Roman does, which is not, triple option. Obviously, Paul Johnson was an extreme when it came to that. But, it kind of worked at Georgia Tech for a little while to say, look, we can't recruit the kids that Miami and Florida State can get and Clemson can get. They're not going to come to Georgia Tech. So let's try to do something a little bit different. Is there maybe a parallel there that would make what Greg Roman's offense is make sense at a place like Stanford?
The most interesting question to me would be, obviously he has his reputation right now is tied pretty heavily to Lamar Jackson, right?
Sure.
And what he's been able to do with him and his skill set. Stanford has, as far as I can remember, has never had a dual threat quarterback. They always have. They've just churned out this assembly line of 6'4" West Coast pro style quarterback, right? Whether you're talking about obviously Andrew Luck, but also
Kevin Hogan,
Davis Mills. Davis Mills is NFL starting quarterback now. Tanner McKee, the guy they have now, will probably get drafted. So, that's kind of who Stanford can get, right? Like that's those guys are more often to be in that talent pool of kids who are good enough and can get into Stanford. So, to me, it's not necessarily about the style. I asked Bernard Beer, the AD, the other day, how important is it to get somebody who has worked at either Stanford or a school like Stanford? Because it's a completely different kind of recruiting.
Sure.
It's the only school I know where, like, the first question to the recruit is not his 40 time. It's how many AP courses have you taken in high school? So, it's a different kind of recruiting. But he has experience in that, having been there.
That's really interesting. It's really. Do you have like in your mind a timeline? You say that it doesn't need to be a rush, but like, I gotta think that like before the first of the year they want to have a coach in place, right?
I would think so. The two key dates coming up: the transfer portal window opens next week, but Stanford is just not really involved in that yet. They say they will be soon. Early signing day though for high school recruits is near Christmas, like a little bit before Christmas.
Yeah.
You got to have a coach in place by then. How are you going to sign any recruits if they don't know who the coach is going to be?
Yeah, it's a great point. And even if is there a possibility that because this wasn't a firing but a retirement, that if they hired Greg Roman, there could be some holdovers from the previous staff that could help out in that process a little bit?
Well, right now they're all still employed. I'm sure they're all still recruiting. One thing about Stanford is they do get a lot of kids who it almost doesn't matter who the coach is, right?
Sure.
They just want that
be at
Stanford degree.
That makes sense.
So, yeah, you kind of rely on the current, like the holdover staff to help you get through that period. But Stanford is coming off back-to-back 3-9 seasons, 4-8 in 2019. I just can't imagine the new coach is going to keep any of those guys. There's some good coaches, but when you're, coming in to rebuild a program, you generally want to have your own people.
I get it. We have such reverence for David Shaw around here because he spent some time in Baltimore, and it's a shame to see how things unfolded the last couple of years. Stewart, if I could, just are you at a place where you could handicap it at all, or we just don't know enough about who the other candidates are that's even something that you'd be able to do?
I don't think we can handicap it in part because Bernard Muir, their athletic director, has been there since 2012, and he's never had to hire a football coach. So in terms of like what he's looking for is a bit of a mystery. The only other guy I know for sure is a candidate is Troy Taylor, the coach at Sacramento State, who is a Bay Area guy and has turned them into a powerhouse in FCS. But I have to think there's probably some sitting college football head coaches that they would want to talk to. And other criteria that we might not even be thinking of. They took a lot of pride. I know this. They took a lot of pride in the fact that David Shaw was one of, if not the most prominent African-American head coach in college football.
Sure.
I think they would love to be able to continue that, but obviously it depends on whether you can find somebody that's the right fit.
And then before I let you go, could you explain to us dummies, so the news today about the Rose Bowl and officially the college football playoff will be 12 teams, but what do we know about, is the Rose Bowl still going to be played on New Year's Day? Like, how have they figured out all of that part of this process? Because that, as a college football fan, has been infuriating with the playoff in years. The best thing ever is when the playoff is the two late games on New Year's Day. Like, it's just the greatest thing ever. And every time that they've had to play a game on New Year's Eve, it's been infuriating. So do we know more about how that's going to look?
Well, all they know right now, all they announced today, is we're in a 12-year contract, and this thing is going to kick in year 11. So 2 years of the 12-team playoff under the current contracts. And what they announced today is the Rose Bowl will host a quarterfinal each of those years, and the quarterfinals are going to be on New Year's Day. So that much is clear. What happens once they get to what they're calling year 13, when it's a completely new system, we have no idea yet. When the games will be, I assume the Rose Bowl will still be a part of it, but will they be? That's all to be determined. But the good news is that they got the sign-off that they needed to be able to implement this in 2024 instead of having to wait another 2 years.
So in 2024, there will be first-round games, and then there'll be quarterfinals, and those quarterfinals will be the New Year's, sort of traditional New Year's games, and then there'll be 2 rounds after the traditional New Year's games.
That's right.
Okay.
And I think at some point they would like to move that up because it just doesn't make any sense. The semifinal should be on New Year's Day. Like, it's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
But, it's hard to unwind teams. Basically you would have to shift the whole season up a week, and it's hard to unwind, contracts and whatnot. But this one they came up with kind of on the fly, those semifinals, because they have to work around the NFL playoff schedule. So in every weekend day, even Monday nights are taken, right? So they're going to end up playing the semifinals in kind of like the middle of the week in January, which is not ideal.
That's weird. That's real. I guess, maybe Thursday night would be available because the NFL doesn't.
Yeah.
Yeah. Gosh.
I've heard Thursday. I've heard one would be Thursday night, one would be Friday night.
Okay.
And now picture that, and now picture doubleheader on New Year's Day. Like, it's a no-brainer.
Man, it seems to make all the sense in the world. It seems to me, and dude, there's just nothing. There's been that first year when the semifinals, you're like, oh my God, this is perfect. This is everything we've ever asked for in this sport. They got to get that figured out. Oh man. All right, SL Mandel on Twitter is how you follow him, and of course The Athletic to see all of his stuff. Can we plug the podcast for you?
Yeah, the Audible. Myself and Bruce Feldman will have our next episode on Sunday, right after the playoff pairings get announced.
Awesome. Stewart Mandel, truly appreciate taking the time for us. Obviously, big story back this way. Thanks so much for doing this.
Thanks for having me.
Stewart Mandel from The Athletic. So, that I guess what we learned from there is you can call it exploratory, but Stewart Mandel says Greg Roman is definitely interested. So that doesn't mean that he's going to get the job, but he wasn't just having a phone call for the sake of having a phone call. I think a lot of us that are in any sort of professional, it's very rare that someone calls you and says, hey, we'd like to talk. Even if you don't think you're going to take the job, normally you say, yeah, I'll have a phone call with you. Because it's just good to know what's out there. It's good to have your name connected to things. It's good to going through the process is something. Here, I'll look at Brady as I do this because he's moving into his professional. Griffin's only about a year older than him, so going through the process is always smart. It's always smart whenever there's an opportunity to talk to someone. I have said before, I was extraordinarily frustrated because one time I drove to another state to interview for a job that when I got there, I was informed they had already filled. And that was infuriating for me. But if they had told me ahead of time, look, we want to talk to you. The job that you wanted, we filled. Would you still be willing to come down here and sit with us and have a conversation and explore maybe another role that, you might make sense for, or just we kind of want to get to know you more, something like that? If I had been presented that, the answer 1,000% would have still been yes. And I wouldn't have been nearly as pissed off about it. I was pretty pissed off to find out that I put all this effort into a job that I couldn't get, right? And then by that point, when they wanted to pivot midway through the conversation, I was so pissed off about how it went that it was a worthless conversation. But if they had presented it to me and said, look, we just got to be honest with you. We found the person that we wanted. We've got our person. We still like you. We still want to talk to you. And we're wondering if there might be a different role for you. Would you come down? Because the answer should always be, yeah, I want to have that conversation. But what we surmise from chatting with Stewart Mandel was this wasn't just Greg Roman having a conversation for the sake of having a conversation. Like, hey, you called. I'll talk to you. This is more than that. This is, a job he wants, apparently, or at least, as Stewart Mandel says, is interested in. And if you're a Ravens fan who hates Greg Roman, you say, great, go get it. The question is just how significant is Stanford's interest? I thought the last thing that Stewart Mandel said was very interesting, which is, they really have liked being a place. Think about the Bay Area, think about the type of school that Stanford is, a very progressive place. They have liked having a prominent black head football coach. in a sport where, sadly, there are still too few of them, although we think that Deion Sanders is about to get a D1 job somewhere. That the video of the Jackson State play-by-play guy interviewing him yesterday, if you have not seen it, hilarious. The play-by-play guy at Jackson State does like a weekly interview with Deion Sanders, and this week he just said, "So, Coach, I'm a big Chiefs fan. You know, they're playing out in Colorado, Denver. Can we ride together to that game?" It was really good. Like, it was a really good way around, you know, how do I ask you about this knowing you don't want to talk about this? And it ended up being really funny, the two of them going back and forth for a little while. If you can find it. Do you got it by chance? Can you? Damn it.
Let me see.
It can't be that. It can't be that hard. Deion Sanders interview. Nope, not coming. Oh, there it is. Second thing that comes up if you search Deion Sanders interview. Literally the second thing that comes up is from yesterday.
I'm spelling Deion wrong.
I don't know. How do you spell
No,
Deion?
All right, D-E. All right, I found it.
Yep.
2 minutes, 2 minute long?
1 minute 59, something like that. Yep. So good. So good.
Out in the wilderness.
I live in the country.
You live in the country?
Yes.
So I didn't rap this, but I got it.
All right, that's not the one, as it turns
This
out.
is something-
I should have
there are a
looked
lot
at
of
it. It's the
animals
same
that run out
setup
in the
as the
street.
one,
So you-
but it's not the one. So I apologize. Oh, go down a couple more.
All right.
Yep.
Bryce,
Yep,
ATL.
that's the one. That's the one. Go ahead. Try
You
that
know my
one.
favorite team is the Kansas City Chiefs, right?
Yeah.
Next week they play the Denver Broncos in Colorado. I'm going with you, and we gonna ride together.
That's good. That's good. That's good. That's a good. Now that's a good one. That's a good one there. I gotta admit, now that's a good one. That's a good one there. That was a good one. Come on, sit back down here. Come on. So why you gonna do your boy like that?
No. I never been there. And
Me either.
But I'm going.
I played there.
Well, I'm going next week when the Chiefs play
what-
Broncos in Colorado, Denver, Colorado.
What you trying to say?
I just want to know. Can we ride together?
Where am I going?
That's the best part. By far the best part of it.
Well, look, Coach. So they're playing this week. My team played the Bengals.
Oh, you ain't no good, man.
But Coach, I'm
You
just
ain't
asking.
no good.
Coach, you told me that.
I ain't tell you what.
You told the fella. They told the man they'll ask a question. He
Yeah.
asked a question, and he asking all this stuff about your beard and all that. You ain't said. But when I asked you, can I ride with you to Colorado?
Why would you assume I'm going to Colorado?
I don't, cause you've been to all these places. I've never been to Colorado.
But why would you assume I'm going to Colorado?
No,
Would you ride with me?
No, I'm just.
Go to Kansas City Chiefs. That's good stuff, though. Is the Chiefs playing at the real?
It's pretty good. It's really quite good, right? Because if he says you're going to Colorado, he's going to clown him. So it's a good way of getting around it. I guess the word is that Colorado, Cincinnati, and USF have all tried to hire Deion, and the latest reporting is he's going to make a decision by this weekend. So we'll see. Cincinnati's moving into the Big 12, so that does become a more prominent job next year. I don't think USF. I know UCF is moving to the Big 12, right?
I think that's right.
I don't think because it's Cincinnati,
USF's.
Houston, UCF, and is there a fourth?
Is there a fourth? How many teams are the Big 12 losing?
Teams moving from the Big 12 is losing Oklahoma and Texas, but remember they only had 10 teams.
Right.
Teams moving from AAC to Big 12. No, just 3 of them: Cincinnati, Houston, and UCF are the 3 that are moving. I didn't understand why Memphis wouldn't have moved as well. It seemed like a logical move for them. But Cincinnati, Houston, and UCF are the 3 that are moving. So, there's 2 power conference jobs in there now. If you still think the Big 12 is a power conference when they lose Oklahoma and Texas. If you still view the Big 12 as a power conference, TCU looks like they might find their way into the playoff this year. Baylor is still a pretty significant program. Oklahoma State's still a pretty significant program. If you still view the Big 12 as a power conference, then you're going to have 2 power conference jobs available for Deion Sanders, who, has done such a good job at Jackson State. There's no debate that he deserves it. He has earned this type of gig. I don't know. There are people that are wondering, does he hold out for something even better a year from now? He's done such a good job at Jackson State that he's not likely to take a step backwards. Do you say, Colorado's good, but I'm going to have to put in a lot of work. Maybe I wait 1 more year and an even better job becomes available. I don't know. I don't know what you do if you're Deion Sanders. It's interesting.
He probably goes to Cincinnati, right?
I think Colorado is a better job than Cincinnati is. I get it. The Pac-12's tough, and they're going to lose. But it's the same story, I guess, either way. The Pac-12's about to lose USC and UCLA, but right now still has Oregon.
So he's from Florida.
Correct. Well, he wanted the Florida State job, obviously. He wanted that, didn't get it. Mike Norvell's doing a really good job. So, I don't think that's going to be coming available again anytime soon. They just beat Florida this weekend. Florida State ended up having a really nice season, kind of under the radar. As they beat LSU at the beginning of the year. Like, they ended up having a good season. So I don't think that job is becoming available anytime soon. What is it that you're holding out for if you don't take one of these jobs? Colorado is a great place. Colorado, you wouldn't know this. Colorado was a national champion in the early 90s.
Really?
Yeah. Colorado was a prominent program. Of course, Cordell Stewart was there, Rashawn Salam, Michael Westbrook. That was a hell of a time for Colorado. It has been a down 20 years or so
They're
for
like
Colorado
1-10
at this
year,
point.
I think.
Yeah, I mean it's been brutal. But Colorado, there's their stadium, Folsom Field, is like one of the most picturesque locations in all of college football. They have had really good teams. There is a history of good football at Colorado. To me, it's an intriguing place. You see it?
Yeah.
It's a really cool place, right? It's a really neat stadium. It's difficult. It's definitely difficult. There's no way around it. And I get it. Cincinnati was just in the playoff a year ago, but, would they have been in the playoff if they were in a power conference? I don't know. You know what I mean? I don't know if they would have been in the playoff if they had played the entire year. They also nearly lost to Navy a year ago. I'm not.
What are you saying about Navy?
I'm not trying to say anything about Navy. I'm just saying, I don't know that yet that Cincinnati has moved into power territory, and that just because they're moving into the Big 12, you can confidently believe that. Colorado is really compelling to me. If I'm Deion Sanders, I'm really compelled by Colorado. The question is, what do you think could, I don't think that Ohio State would hire Deion Sanders, right? I don't think that would happen. But what if, what if Ohio State loses to Michigan again next year, and people there just really do get pissed off at Ryan Day?
They bring back Urban Meyer.
I would think that would be what they would want to do, or they really wanted Luke Fickell. I think a lot of people wanted to hire Luke Fickell there. But I don't know. It's an interesting spot for Deion to be in. Okay, Greg Roman conversation. We had it. We will monitor it. In the meantime, he's going to continue to be the offense coordinator of the Baltimore Ravens, no matter how you feel about it. Just the way that it works. Hour number 2 of today's show has also been brought to you by the Stan the Fan Variety Hour. If you missed it earlier in the week, Stan the Fan and Ross Grimsley sat down with the legend, the icon, Jim Palmer. You can find that show right now. Facebook.com/PressBoxSports, YouTube.com/PressBoxOnline, PressBoxOnline.com/video. When we come back in, we'll get a tidbit, we will get tubular, and then we will get you segment number 2 of the Tyus Bowser Show with special guest Marcus Williams. It's Glenn Clark Radio.
Gambling can be a fun and entertaining experience, but there are risks involved. If you're planning on betting on the game at the casino or on your phone or computer, know your limit, stay within it. Set a budget and a time to stop. Remember, gambling isn't a financial solution, and it doesn't mix well with alcohol or drugs. Know the risks and have a plan before you begin gambling. For free and confidential services, call 1-800-GAMBLER 24/7 or go to helpmygamblingproblem.org.
That first sip. That first bite. Start your day off right with a delicious breakfast at Royal Farms. Choose from a fantastic selection of fresh Royal Farms breakfast sandwiches and top it off with a rich hot cup of the freshest coffee in the world. At Royal Farms, breakfast is available day and night. It's the freshest breakfast in the world. Real fresh, real fast. Royal Farms.
What's up, everyone? This is Tyus Bowser, and I'm excited to tell you that I'm back for Season 2 of the Tyus Bowser Show in partnership with PressBox and Great Ace Memorabilia. Join us on Tuesday nights throughout the season as I'll be heading all over town with my special guests. And of course, our co-hosts, Glenn and Rita. Or is it Rita and Glenn? What is it? I look forward to meeting you guys and talking a little bit about football and a lot about life. And if you happen to miss the show, you can now catch a replay Friday nights on 105.7 The Fan. Get all of your details for the Tyus Bowser Show right now at PressBoxOnline.com/Bowser.
The next Tyus Bowser Show is Tuesday, December 13th at the Hamilton Sports Bar and Grill, 5506 Harford Road. It's brought to you by Maryland Vascular Specialists and the all-new Ginsu Kamado Grill.
Sports betting has come to Maryland, and we're ready to help you win some money. Tune in for Simply the Bets every Tuesday morning at 11:40. FanDuel Sportsbook GM Leon Twyman and VSiN's Aaron Oster join the guys every week to give you all of the info you need and offer you a few winners. And every other Thursday at 11:40, tune in for Weekend at Bookies as Andrew Stecca and Alloy Sports' Brad Kronthal help make you some money for the weekend. So come win some money with us on Simply the Bets every Tuesday and Weekend at Bookies every other Thursday. Brought to you by the FanDuel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel Maryland. Listen at PressBoxOnline.com/radio. Watch at YouTube.com/PressBoxOnline.
The weather outside is really unpleasant, so it's time to warm up with some comfort classics this winter at your neighborhood Glory Days Grill. Try the Twisted Ribs and Wings combo. It's 2 full pounds of meat, the mac and cheese bites, Mr. Richards meatloaf, the citrus salmon, the winter spinach salad, and for dessert, here's internet radio personality Griffin Bass to tell you about the bourbon butter cake.
Oh my God, it's so good.
Pair it with a blood orange bourbon cider or a devil's backbone cranberry smash. Place your order now at glorydaysgrill.com. Glory Days Grill. Great food, good sports.
Check out Jeremy Kahn's daily picks at PressBoxOnline.com as he tries to find you daily winners. And speaking of winners, here's a man who once won a media curling contest. And I don't think anything else. He's Glenn Clark.
Ginsu Kamado Grill is the perfect ceramic grill or tailgate grill, so either for home or for your tailgating needs. Grill, bake, sear, smoke, all of the food that you want. It's unbelievable cooking instrument is how I would describe it. And you can save $100 when you use the code TAILGATE right now at ginsugrills.com. All right, give me 1 second here, and then we'll get to Tidbit Tubular and Tyus. I shared something today on Facebook at facebook.com/GlennClarkRadio. Today would have been my childhood and lifelong best friend's 40th birthday. And I've talked about my buddy Chris a lot. We were inseparable growing up. I mean, like, we didn't have relationships with girls. We had, like thruples, essentially. Like, that's just the way it worked. Like, his girlfriends would joke about how, like, they never really got date nights because I would end up crashing them, and then I would be in a relationship, and like it's just the way that it would. We were that type of best friends. When I moved away and pursued my career, Chris was working as an electrician, and we were talking earlier in the show, maybe we were talking off the air about demons, and being an electrician, he dealt with pain, and with pain sometimes comes addiction. Sadly, it's how it works in this country. And when I talk about this topic, I need you to know, I think there's a stigma. I think there's a picture that people have in their head about who might be at a place like the Helping Up Mission right now. And I don't think you fully understand. I think a lot of people do, frankly, because I think addiction has hit so many people that it ain't a specific type of person. It's anyone. It's anyone who comes from any background, the greatest upbringing. That's the disease that is addiction. It's a disease. I didn't start working with the Helping Up Mission because of my buddy Chris. I had started working with the Helping Up Mission years before. But what I understood of the place grew even more watching his battle with his own demons. And my friend passed away a few years ago. And I've never really been the same because of it. And today would have been his 40th birthday. And I put out a message late last night. I was, kind of in my feelings. And I think everybody who's ever been through grief, understands that it comes in waves and you don't know when it's going to hit you. And when it does, it can be really overwhelming. And I was feeling a little bit of that last night. And I put it out there and I said, look, man, I'm not... And I just was being honest. It would go a long way for me today if we could finish up our raffle. And, if we did that on my buddy Chris's birthday, it would be pretty special to me. And I want to thank you guys because we're going to get there. I had a couple people that came through kind of quickly and said, the raffle's not all that important to me, but whatever the number is you need to hit your goal, we're going to get you there. So thank you doesn't go far enough. It really doesn't. It's overwhelming what we're trying to do for the folks at the Helping Up mission this year is very different than what we've done in past years. It was easy in past years to just say, hey, could you run to your closet and grab out some old coats that you don't wear anymore and bring them down to us? You don't have to put a lot of thought into that. Frankly, for me, it was kind of a win-win because I needed to clean out my closet most years anyway. My wife yells at me. She's like, you're not wearing this. What are you doing? Perfect. I'll just take it to the Helping Up mission. But as I told you guys, this year was a little bit different because we took 2 massive trucks worth of stuff down last year, and they still haven't gone through it. What you guys did for us last year was amazing. And they came to us and just asked, hey, could we take a year off from coats and clothes? And Drew and I have been doing this for 14 years. This is the first time we've ever not done coats and clothes. So they need underwear and they need toiletries. And we are going to, Drew and I are working, we're going to have a night. We're all going to go over to Glory Days Grill. And if you'd be willing to go out and buy, a pack of underwear, buy, some deodorant. My buddy Mark Miller, whose son Drew played basketball at Stevens. You know Drew Miller? Did you know him when he played basketball at Stevens and Brady?
I don't.
Great dude. He's now at Avernia. But his dad, Mark, messaged me this week, said, hey, I just put in an Amazon order. I'm going to have it shipped to you. It's going to be a bunch of toiletries. And we're going to do that for you guys that want to do that want to go collect things and have items to give to us. That would be wonderful. We need underwear, socks, undershirts, things like that, that you got to go buy new, obviously. You can't donate your own. And we need toiletries, and we're going to do that. But it felt like it might be easier to do this monetarily. And I set a larger goal than we had set the last couple of years. I set the goal of $3,000, and even if nobody signs up for a bowl pick'em contest, we're going to pass $3,000. And that is so humbling, and I'm getting a little emotional thinking about it. And the fact that you guys got us to that mark on my buddy's 40th birthday is really quite overwhelming. And, thank you doesn't go far enough. I'm eternally grateful. I get very nervous this time of year. We're going to be able to keep doing this. Are people going to come through? And some of you came through in ways that I'll never be able to fully thank you for. Some of you came through with $100, $200, $500 from a couple of people. Family members of mine that stepped up and said, hey, can I close the gap? A lot of listeners, almost everyone in our immediate circle, jumped in. Kyle Ottenheimer got in this morning. That blew me away. I love you, buddy. Ryan Mink from the Ravens sent me $25 last night. I was blown away by that. Jerry Coleman messaged me this morning. Jerry Coleman, who has never met a free T-shirt he didn't love, messaged me this morning and said, hey, can I get in? Really, really emotional thing. And so here's the deal. I had a bunch of people that said, the raffle's not for me, but I'm going to donate to get you to your goal. So we held raffle spots for them because I want to run the number and I want to pick a winner because I know that these are prizes that people might want to give as holiday gifts. But the way we're going to do this is if you still want to get in for the raffle, I'm going to keep that until tomorrow. At Glenn-Clark on Venmo, Glenn Clark 180 on PayPal, $ Glenn Clark Radio on Cash App. $25 gets you a spot in the raffle. If you want a raffle spot, get in those ways. And you're going to see, if you go to the link, Glenn Clark Radio on Twitter or glennclarkradio.com, you're going to look and you're going to see all the numbers filled. Don't worry about that. Some of those numbers are holding spots for people who just had openly told me, I don't care about the prize. If I win, I'm going to tell you to give it to somebody else anyway. So if you want a raffle spot to win the full-size Ravens helmet signed by, you want to go grab that for me if you don't mind? Brady, if you walk out this door and look to your left, up on top of the bookshelf, you'll find a giant box, and it's the helmet signed by Calais Campbell. It's right in there. There's also 2 autographed pictures sitting on top of it. You want to bring all that in, I'd appreciate it. We'll show it on the video. Full-size Ravens helmet signed by Calais Campbell. I have Tyus Bowser and Marcus Williams, who you're about to hear from in a second. Were kind enough to autograph prints for us on Tuesday night. So one of our winners is going to win both of those. And then the other one is going to win an autographed Trey Mancini print, a unique piece of art that our guy Dorsey Art did. So those you see right there, that's Tyus Bowser and Marcus Williams. Prints that are autographed right there, literally from this past Tuesday night. So somebody's going to win both of those. You get both of them. It's a pair of them. And then this, oh boy, I want to be careful about this because it's got plastic on it. I do want people to see that it's legitimately autographed, but I want to be careful about it because there's actually a funny story behind this. There was an incident with this helmet the night that Calais signed it.
Oh, jeez.
There was an incident. All right, let's be as careful as we possibly can with this. So it's covered in plastic. I don't know if that'll show, but you can see through the plastic.
Yeah, I think you can see it. I mean, I can confirm it is signed.
Autographed by Calais Campbell, and it's not as heavy as an NFL helmet. I don't know if you've ever held an NFL helmet. Like they are a burden, but it is a full size. You can see it's not a mini helmet. It's a full size. Replica helmet that is autographed by Calais Campbell. So we will run that through tomorrow, and then we will pick winners for the raffle. What happened to this box? I don't know what happened there. I don't think anybody's.
You said there's an incident.
I don't think anybody's. Well, it wasn't related to the box. It was related to the helmet itself. But I don't think anybody's caring about the box. I think it's the helmet that the winner would want. So you can get in for all of that. Still, despite the fact that you see it filled. There are people that are on that list that will be happy to say, I don't want the raffle spot. You can give that spot to somebody else. So we will still take your donations through tomorrow. $25 at Glenn Clark Radio. Sorry, at $sign Glenn Clark Radio on Cash App, at Glenn-Clark on Venmo, at Glenn Clark 180 on PayPal, and somebody is going to be winning those. Very awkward. Like my mother-in-law got in and said, "Well, if I win, just give it to Mrs. Clark." I don't think that would look good. I don't think that would be a good look if we ran the raffle and Mrs. Clark was the winner. I think that would be a little bit awkward if it played out that way. So we're going to try to avoid that if we possibly can. But I did appreciate her. That meant the world to me that she stepped up and got in as well. So please, we still have room for you to get in. I'm not going to hammer you about it any longer because the sweat is off. We're going to get to the number that I wanted to get to. I'd like to blow past that number. And we are going to do the Bowl Pick'em contest. We've done it every year. We're going to get in. It's going to be a $20 buy-in. The same way as if you want to go ahead and reserve your spot, you can get in now for the Bowl Pick'em contest. We'll just be picking games straight up. That's all it is. Very simple for every bowl game this season. I guess Brady can't do that because he's still in college. You don't want to ruin his eligibility. Sorry, buddy.
That.
Yeah, not allowed to do that. Not allowed to do that.
Nope.
But everybody else that's not currently a college athlete, you can get into the Bowl Pick'em, and we'll do that as a 50-50 like we did with our World Cup draws. However many people get in, if we have 20 people get in, then there'll be a $400 total pot, so $200 will go to the winner, and $200 will go to the Helping Up mission. I think we've had as many as like 40 people get into this, so we'll take I do want to give people a chance, so I do try to cap it at a reasonable number for that because I want you to feel like you have a chance to win. So if we can get 30 people, I'd be really happy. If we got 30, I think 25 was a number that I attained. If we get 25, then it's $250 for the winner and $250 for Helping Up mission. But no matter what, we're going to get to $3,000, and that's just it's overwhelming, man. It's overwhelming. Thank you to all of you. So I apologize. I know it kind of went off and derailed there, and it was a little bit different, but very humbling feeling, and I'm eternally grateful for all of you for stepping up and doing that for us. All right? Cool. Let's get a tidbit. Tidbit is brought to you today by the Tyus Bowser Show, which will return to the Hamilton Sports Bar and Grill on Tuesday, December 13th. It's a partnership of Pressbox and Grade 8's Memorabilia. It's brought to you by Maryland Vascular Specialists and the all-new Ginsu Kamado Grill. PressBoxOnline.com/Bowser is where you find out more. It's really very simple. All season long, you've had the opportunity to come out and meet Tyus Bowser and an amazing array of teammates that he has brought out this season. I mean, a murderer's row of guests that he has had with him all season long, from Mark Andrews, Marlon Humphrey, Chuck Clark. Just this week, obviously Marcus Williams, you're about to hear from. Justin Houston, don't know if you've heard of that guy. I've had an incredible season of great guests, and there'll be another one on December 13th. Hope you will come join us at the Hamilton Sports Bar and Grill.
All right, so a bit of a slow day in terms of, I guess, interesting trivia that was going around, but I found a couple pretty good ones. So Trace Jackson Davis from Indiana last night became the only player. Well, I guess the only player in Division I history. Well, okay, let me rephrase this. In at least the last 25 years, to have scored 20 points, 10 rebounds, 4 assists, and 4 blocks, and no turnovers against another AP top 25 opponent.
Interesting, I guess.
Only player in at least the last 25 years to do that. That was from OptaStats.
Indiana's good, man.
Yeah.
They're good.
And then Maryland basketball tweeted out that Kevin Willard became the first coach in Big Ten history to win each of the first 7 games of his career by at least 15 points.
Okay, I mean, I believe that. It's, I guess somebody would point out, 4 of them were against lesser competition, but 3 of them were against power conference teams. Obviously, I'm not sure if Louisville counts as a power conference team at this point.
All right, and then trying to come up with a trivia, I got 2 very kind of just very benign.
You're not doing a
stats.
good job of selling these. You
All
gotta.
right, let me sell.
Let's try a little bit better.
All right, so
Griffin's like, I guess if we have to, we'll do this segment. I guess.
All right. I'll come back with a killer one tomorrow. It's going to be unbelievable.
Maybe sell this one, and then I'll be the one to tell you it stunk.
All right.
Maybe.
Tua is currently has the highest recorded single season passer rating on third downs since play-by-play data has been tracked starting in 1991 with 145.6. That is his that is his passer rating on third down. Who are the next 2 on this list?
This season?
All time.
All time.
So in a season.
In a single season, passer rating on third down. Obviously, there is no way for anybody to know this, so we're just guessing names of quarterbacks. Dave Craig.
No.
Oh, I really thought
since
that
1991.
Dave Craig played since 1991.
Okay.
You can get in. You can guess as well, Brady.
Okay.
Just guessing names
This
of
is
quarterbacks,
tough.
really.
There's
no thought. Just name a quarterback is what this is. That's what we're doing here. Name Dante Culpepper.
No.
Steve McNair.
No.
Kirk Cousins.
No. The
Brady, just guess the name of a quarterback.
I mean, Tom Brady.
There we go.
Not Tom Brady.
That's
You-
a quarterback,
you
though.
would think.
Donovan McNabb.
Not Donovan McNabb. So it's pre-2000, actually, both of these guys.
Pre-2000.
Yeah.
Troy
This is gonna be tough for
Aikman.
me.
Not Troy.
Joe Montana.
Nope.
Phil
very
Sims.
Close. Not Phil
Steve
Sims.
Young.
Steve
For
Young.
some reason, the
Steve
answer used to
Young.
always be Steve Young.
1994, 141.2.
Dan Marino.
Not Dan.
John Elway.
Not John Elway.
Boo.
Back
I
end
don't
of
like
1990s.
Back end of the 1990s.
It was 1999.
Back end of the 1990s. Back end. Think about what I was doing. Brett Favre.
Not Favre.
Got to think about Brad Johnson.
No.
Back end of the 90s. I saw a few back ends in the 90s, if you know what I mean. right. This guy over here. He knows.
Nice.
He knows. Rich Gannon.
Not Rich Gannon. Probably known
Trent
more.
Green.
Not Trent Green.
Jake Delhomme.
Probably known more for playing in the 2000s.
That doesn't. Drew Bledsoe. No, he was more the 90s. Vinny Testaverde. Known more for playing in the 2000s.
Just,
but
I mean, I
back
could
end
just
of
give
the
it.
90s.
This hint will
Settle
give it away.
down.
All right.
God. Keep it in your pants. Peyton Manning.
Mm-mm.
Known more for the 2000s. Played in the 90s. Matt Hasselbeck?
No.
I think so.
Very good year in 1999.
Now, I'm so glad you said that.
Yeah.
Now I know exactly who it is. Because clearly I remember that in 1999 it was just a killer year for...
Just had a movie made about him.
Oh, Kurt Warner?
Kurt Warner.
I didn't think that was 99. Why did I think that was 2000? That was his
I guess because
monster
he won it
season.
in 2000.
Maybe that's the reason why it was.
But
God,
yeah, so Tua.
All right, I should have gotten that.
Tua joins those two to have a passer rating of 137 or higher.
All right, I'm going to be honest
on
with
third
you.
downs.
That sucked.
Yeah. Both of those two went on to win the regular season MVP as well as the Super Bowl
How
MVP
about that?
in those respective years.
How about that? So you're saying get your bets in now? Is that what you're saying? On
Yeah,
Tua?
yeah.
You're racing,
You could say
ready-
that.
You ready to put your mouth where your money is?
Something
Something like that? Something.
I'm not sure.
All right, very good. That was a tidbit. Tubular is brought to you by PressBoxOnline.com/offers. Great offers, like $200 in free bets when you make your first $5 bet with DraftKings. Go find out more right now. PressBoxOnline.com/offers, plus other great offers from FanDuel and BetMGM and Barstool and everybody, basically, that you can bet within the state of Maryland. Again, go right now to PressBoxOnline.com/offers and take advantage of them today. Here's what's coming up tonight, totally tubular-wise. Of course, we get Thursday Night Football this evening. The Bills and the Patriots open up NFL Week 13 on Amazon Prime Video at 8:15. ACC Big Ten Women's Challenge, Maryland-Notre Dame is 6:30 on ESPN2. Mount St. Mary's is at St. Peter's, their first ever game in the MAC at 7 o'clock on ESPN+. We got some finals in the World Cup this morning.
Yes. So Morocco won their group.
Yep.
And Croatia and Belgium draw, so that means Croatia is on.
Through, yeah.
Yep.
So
Belgium.
Both Belgium and Canada do not make the round of 16.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think anybody would have bet that.
No.
Don't think that would have been the case. By the way, I'm pretty sure that's exactly what John Proctor needed. I think John Proctor was pissed off when he got his draw because he got both Croatia and Morocco, and he was like, they're playing each other in the first game. Turns out, got exactly what he wanted. They're both through. Anyway, the late games today on Fox, you have... Where is Fox? Thank you. That's Japan and Spain at 2, and Costa Rica, Germany at 2 on FS1. The rest of the college basketball find at GlennClarkRadio.com. Capitals Kraken tonight at 10 o'clock on NBC. And they're playing the Kraken. They're not just Kraken. You know.
Capitals are Kraken?
No, not that. They're playing the Seattle Kraken, 10 o'clock, NBC Sports Washington. ESPN Plus and Hulu for Oilers Wild at 8, Mavs Pistons at 7 on NBA TV. Round 1 of the Tiger Woods tournament without Tiger Woods today at 1:30 on the Golf Channel. I don't know if people care without Tiger Woods participating. I'm pretty sure it's just a December golf tournament. And Access TV for Impact Wrestling tonight at 8. Some non-sports highlights.
What did you say, Towson Volleyball? Did you?
You know what? I did not mention that. You can put that on the list. Yes,
right.
they play in the NCAA
Volleyball?
tournament
Correct.
against Texas.
They're playing in Texas against
They're
Georgia.
playing against Georgia. I had a little piece of everything there. By the way, we found out, but Brian Powell told us the Juwan Dixon story that Patrick Stevens and I were struggling with. He wore number 5 for the entirety of his freshman year. That's what I had forgotten about, including that game against Iowa in Baltimore. And so when I was working the event with Juwan Dixon a couple years ago and somebody brought the poster up, he knew immediately. He was like, remember the game. And you could barely tell. Like, the poster was basically just him. There was only a little bit of background in there, but he knew immediately. He was like, Iowa, Baltimore Arena. He remembered it immediately, and he was wearing number 5 because he wore number 5 for the entirety of his freshman year because LaRon Profit was wearing number 3. Thank you, Brian Powell, for your help.
All right, so in addition to Towson Volleyball in the NCAA tournament, Gossip Girl Season 2 comes out on HBO Max.
Wait, there's only Season 2 of Gossip Girl?
I guess it's like a new, I guess they're doing
it's a new version of Gossip Girl?
They're like redoing it.
I
don't know.
There was a young lady I knew that was a big Gossip Girl fan. It never did a thing for me.
Interesting.
You're supposed to move on to the next thing on the list.
It's a slow night, tubular-wise, non-sports. David Harbour and Sarah Hyland will be on James Corden.
Oh, it's out tonight, isn't it?
I guess, yeah, that would be. Tonight would be the first night you
All right,
can see.
who wants to go see Violent Night? Who wants to go see Violent Night tonight? That, by the way, we screwed that up.
Did you?
But I want to make this as a guarantee. I'm going to go tonight if I can. My wife will be pissed about it. I don't care. I'm going. It's Violent Night. I have to see it. Latest, I'm seeing it. Before the weekend is over, I'm seeing it. We're going to do a better job of preparing. We are going to a midnight screening of Cocaine Bear.
Okay,
that was what
I was going to bring up.
We're doing this
That
one.
looks insane.
We screwed this up because we were supposed to do an advanced screening, but it was the wrong night. It was the same night as Tyus Bowser Show. I'm disappointed by that. Really dropped the ball on this one. But we are not missing this because on top of it being the greatest idea in the history of motion pictures, my guy, friend of the program, Senator Clay Davis, Isaiah Whitlock, he is in Cocaine Bear. I'm so excited about that. I can't wait.
When I saw
he
that
will definitely
trailer.
come on with us, by the way, to talk about it.
Okay,
He is the
awesome.
best, Isaiah Whitlock.
When
I'm
I saw that
stoked.
trailer, I was like, this has to be a top 5 movie
I don't know if
ever.
it's going to be better than Violent Night because Violent Night is perfect. I haven't seen it yet, obviously, but it's going to be unbelievable. I am so excited about both of these films. Yes.
Yeah.
I can't wait for them both to be nominated for Best Picture at the Academy Awards.
Well, I guess would it be different years?
I don't know. I don't know what the
They're
cutoff
nominated
date
for?
is. I thought the cutoff date was before December. Whatever it is.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
I don't
Okay.
know. I don't know what it is,
Yeah, we'll see.
but they're both going to be Best Picture nominees because they are the greatest ideas in the history of cinema.
The only other thing is Dolly Parton's Mountain Magic Christmas on NBC. That is that's.
I gotta be honest with you.
Tonight.
I might watch that. I don't know if I watch it tonight, but I'm gonna at some point. I will probably end up watching the Dolly Parton Christmas.
Ton of other celebrities, and I believe Billy Ray Cyrus.
Don't
and
care about
Miley.
any of that. Don't care about that. Now you're ruining it for me. Just leave it at Dolly Parton. All right. Greatest America.
Mountain Magic Christmas.
Looking forward to it.
Yes.
Brady, where are you on social meteors?
So I just got Instagram Brady 3 Power.
Brady 3 Power. Are you gonna go win a championship this year?
That's the plan.
All right, go win a championship this year. Thank you for all of your hard work
Absolutely.
this semester. Really
My
appreciate
pleasure.
it.
It's been my pleasure.
You can read Brady's stuff at PressBoxOnline.com. Is this your last week? Is this
next week?
Next week's the last week.
Yep.
All right. So we'll have a little bit more for him from him at PressBoxOnline.com. Thanks today to Brandon Stokley. Thanks also to Ken Zalis. Thanks to Stewart Mandel from The Athletic. Thanks to Santino Quaranta. We'll get all of it up in the greatest hits section of the tab at GlennClarkRadio.com. Stan the Fan will be in studio tomorrow. Orioles assistant GM Eve Rosenbaum is going to join us. We'll talk about the offseason. Bo Smolka, I assume, will be joining us tomorrow. Pressbox Ravens beat writer. And Damian Lee is scheduled to join us. From the Phoenix Suns, of course, Calvert Hall alum. And now an NBA champion after he was with the Warriors last season. So look forward to catching up with him. Thanks to everybody at PressBox, all of our great sponsors and partners, including Baltimore County Police Department, Problem Gambling, Glory Days Grill, Royal Farms, Costas Inn, Maryland Jockey Club, Baltimore area Chick-fil-A restaurants, Great 8's Memorabilia, FanDuel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel Maryland, Maryland Vascular Specialist, the all-new Ginsu Kamado Grill, UMBC Athletics, your local Toyota dealer, buyatoyota.com. Thanks to Griffin at Griffin_Bass on Twitter is how you follow him. Follow us, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at Glenn Clark Radio. Have a great Thursday evening. Go Maryland women. Duke sucks.
Towson volleyball.
Towson volleyball. Yes, I'm sorry. Go Towson volleyball for sure. Was UMBC volleyball playing today too?
They play tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Yes.
Get that on Tubular as well, if you don't mind, please. Thank you. I appreciate it. It's on ESPN Plus, right?
Yes,
you can watch
yes,
it.
ESPN
Plus. All right, very good. All right, have a great Thursday evening. Go those teams. Duke sucks. Ohio State sucks too. We wrap up today's show with segment number 2 of the Tyus Bowser Show with special guest Marcus Williams. Welcome into segment number 2 of the Tyus Bowser Show. Rita and Glenn with you. Pressbox and 105.7 The Fan. We are live at Mother's Peninsula Grill in Arnold. Please make some more noise for Tyus Bowser and Marcus Williams. Woo!
Y'all might as well go home then. Y'all just don't want y'all ain't happy.
This is new.
Turn my
You
mic
guys
up.
are fired up.
Yeah, man.
Tyus Bowser Show
My
is a
mic too
partnership
low.
with Pressbox
My
and
mic
Great 8's
off.
Memorabilia. Great 8's rolling with Santa Christmas Toy Drive. Events get underway this week. A bowling edition Saturday, hosted by Brandon Stevens. A skating edition next Tuesday with Daniel Fa'alele. Plus, still to come this month, presents with Pepe Williams. And Great 8's, and I'm going to this, is bringing Flick from A Christmas Story to Bel Air on Christmas Eve. Find out more by going to great8smemorabilia.com with the number 8, great8smemorabilia.com. Tyus, you guys, a bunch of you. Marcus, I don't even know if Marcus was there for this. You guys made a trip over to a place that means a lot to me this week. Can you tell me about what it was like for you to spend your day at Helping Up Mission downtown?
Yeah, man, Helping Up Mission. Our guy, Craig Singletary, our head security guy with the Ravens, pretty much had something going on up there with the code drive, just supporting the people there by giving them codes, giving them gloves, socks, just different things to kind of help them through this winter months. And I thought it was a great thing. It was a ton of guys there. Marcus, Lamar came out. Everybody that you can kind of think of, and just to be able to do that, to be a part of that was awesome, man. Just to be able to see the smiles on their faces, just to see, people, meet the guys that they always wanted to meet, and just being able to talk and vibe with them. It was an awesome experience, so I really enjoyed it.
I was really blown away by how many dudes were a part of it. That was a really amazing thing. Marcus, you got to be a part of that as well, going out to Helping Up Mission and experiencing that.
Oh, we talking about the event we was at the other day. Oh, yeah, that was a good event. We definitely, 5,300 people in that space.
Not that one.
Oh, see, I wasn't there then. That's why I said it.
All right.
I don't think he was.
I sold you out there.
I sold him out.
You said Marky.
No, you went to him and you said Marcus.
No, you were listing guys, and you said the tape is going to prove it. We're going to go back and listen.
Marcus Peters.
I know the one with 5,300 people was there.
No, there's
My
two
bad.
Marcus Peters, my bad.
I was
My
after
bad.
one the next day.
Miscommunication, guys.
We gotta be
this is how we give up big plays.
Oh my God.
Miscommunication.
Are you on the other team? Hey, we can leave. This man really for the other team.
I'm sorry, man. It's been a tough few days,
You
man.
hung me
It's
out
been a
to
tough
dry
few days.
there,
I'm
bro.
sorry, bro. I'm sorry, man. You know I wouldn't do that to you.
I know you wouldn't. I know you're better than that. I know that's true.
I apologize.
You know, the reason I bring it up, it's a really important place to me. I volunteer with them every month. It's an incredible facility. And we've been doing something this year. We're trying to help them collect. You guys brought coats. They still need toiletries and underwear. So I've been running a charity raffle. We only have a couple of spots left. If you want to hit up at Glenn-Clark on Venmo, you and Calais. Actually, you know what? Just Calais, because he screwed up your autograph on that helmet last week.
Oh, yeah.
So we had to fix that.
Okay.
But I'm going to have you guys sign some stuff for us. And we're running a charity raffle to benefit Helping Up Mission. $25 to get in at Glenn-Clark on Venmo. We got a couple of spots left. If you guys would consider making a donation as well, that would mean the world to us as we try to take care of the folks at Helping Up Mission. I love the fact that you guys were there.
Yeah.
It's an amazing place.
It was a great place.
All right, Marcus Williams. You came on my show after you signed in the spring, and you told me about a dude that you had connected with that I don't know that everybody knows about, and I wanted to give you another opportunity. Can you tell me about your relationship with Eric Weddle and how that came about, and maybe him being somebody that you reached out to as you were thinking about whether or not you were going to end up coming and joining the Ravens?
I mean, Eric Weddle, he's an alum of the University of Utah, so I first met him when I was in college, and I really didn't know who he was. He just came up there. I really didn't know a lot of NFL guys, but he came up to my college, and I met him. I was like, oh, there's like, you know who that is? I'm like, no. There's like, that's Eric Weddle. I'm like, oh, okay. Like, I mean, I didn't really know.
Wait, your reaction makes it seem like after they told you, you were still like, oh, but who's that?
Yeah, I mean, I was just there to, make a name for myself. I wasn't really worried about anybody else for that. In that instance, but then as time went on and I started to grow in the football aspect, I started learning who he was and how great of a player he was, and I started watching a little bit of his film, little by little, and I mean after I met him, after I talked to him a little more, and I seen how he played and how he worked the defense and stuff. It really allowed me to up my game a little bit to be that smarter player. And my coach was always telling me, this is how Eric Weddle studied. This is how Eric. So once he started telling me that, then I started watching him, and then I was like, oh dang, he's one of the highest paid safeties in the NFL. And then so after I actually got in touch with him, we actually talked for a little bit, and but when I was about to sign here, I mean, I didn't really have enough time to be like, hey, listen, I'm about to sign. I literally got the call from Baltimore, and then he was just like, dude, you're going to love it. As soon as I started to come, he was like, dude, you're going to love it. Great organization. He said it's a great place to be. So
that's cool. So take us through then. What did matter to you when you made this? You were clearly in quite the demand in free agency. You were a highly coveted player. Why did you want to be here?
It's just the history. It's the history of the Ravens. They play with a certain style, a certain swag, and when you look at the Ravens over the history, you see great players who are here and make a name for themselves. And all of us come here to make a name for ourselves, but they left their legacy, and for me, I just want to come to a great organization and leave my legacy as well.
I feel like, we hear all the time, play like a Raven. That's a very popular term in this town. And so when you got signed, that was one of the things that people would say, like, this is a guy that's going to play like a Raven. And you came out immediately, on fire, getting interceptions and stuff. And everybody felt like this was your home. Forget what you had done before you got here. We know that you were with the Saints. But you played like a Raven literally from the jump. And so it did feel like this was the perfect fit for you to be here.
Yeah, I mean, I just do what I have to do, one play at a time. And, I just want to do everything I can for the team. The team is the most important thing. So for me, I wasn't worried about all that outside noise and then what anybody has to talk about or anything like that. I just come in and, do my job, watch film, and help my team make plays and get us off the field. So I was just coming here knowing that I just want to do everything I can to help us win games. So that's just my mindset.
It's cool, man. It's cool. This is the Tyus Bowser Show. We're live at Mother's Peninsula Grill. Reminder that online sports betting is live. Get $200 in free bets when you make your first $5 bet with DraftKings. Go to PressBoxOnline.com/offers to see more about DraftKings and other sports betting promos and offers. Tyus, did you, Marcus goes down, did you guys bond a little bit before you were back out on the field and he was trying to get ready? You haven't even shared a snap together yet, and yet he's out here hanging out with you on a Tuesday night, really far away from home.
Yeah.
How'd that relationship come about?
I think we've had our moments in the training room where we've had the opportunity to kind of connect, talk to each other. Especially with me coming in late, he was always here, so I got the chance to kind of get to know him. I'll be playing my music in the training room, and he'll be vibing to it. So those are kind of like the little small things, the small ways that we was able to.
Were you the official DJ of the training room?
Technically, I was, and through our trainer, Adrian, he loved my music, so he was like, you know what, hey man, as long as you in here, you have all access to be able to play your music. So I kind of took on that role because I enjoy playing some music just based off of the vibe.
I don't know this anymore. Who is the locker room DJ? Once upon a time, Terrell Suggs was famously locker.
It's been crazy because at first it was kind of me. It was me. I'll come and play music, but then we started getting other guys to bring in speakers and stuff, and then now they blasting their music. So honestly, I just let them have it because whenever they want to play their music, especially for practice and stuff, I let them do them. And then if I'm working out, I'm doing my own thing, I just bring my own speaker.
Who takes charge the most? Who's the one that?
Marcus Peters. I'm trying to see who else.
He's a veteran. He gets the right to do. When you've been around as long as he.
You said what?
I listen to my headphones.
Marcus be playing some different music, man, but for the most part, when I see him in there, he's normally the one hooked to the speakers. So.
That's who's the guy that you don't want to have be locker room DJ? Who's the guy that y'all said, nah, we're not. You go ahead and keep those speakers.
This year or past?
I would love if you got a story.
I'm just here for the.
I want to hear. I don't even know what Marcus just said.
Nah, but I'll probably say Big Baby.
Really?
Yeah, his music was terrible.
This is Brandon Williams.
Brandon Williams.
About.
His stuff was terrible.
What was he playing? He was really into country, wasn't he?
I don't even know. It was just whatever mood he was in. One time he's playing hip hop music, and the next time he's playing some remix of R&B. Now he has a cover of a hip-hop song with violins going. Then he wants to do pop music. Then he wants to get to dance. Then he goes to country hip-hop. I'm like, I don't even know. And this is before practice. This is after practice.
Bro, what are you doing?
And I'm like, bro, you messing up the vibe, man. People trying to get ready for practice. It's training camp. We about to start hitting each other. I don't want to be hearing no cover of Rihanna to no violin before practice. I don't want to hear that.
Is that legitimately?
That's legit.
Just violin.
There was a moment where he literally
Justin Tuckerish. It feels like that's something that Justin would listen to. But Brandon, you're saying Brandon is the culprit?
He was the soul. He was the man. Because he had the biggest speaker out of everybody. So when his music was on, it overrides everybody else's music. Everybody cut their stuff off because you're not gonna hear it. So you have to listen to his music, and it was just bad.
Who has the big speaker in there now?
I feel like the big speaker now is kind of for everyone.
Okay.
Because it's kind of
it's
in
an
the middle.
arms race. Everybody just went out this offseason.
And then it's two speakers, so one part kind of goes out to our side and then to the other wing as well. But for the most part, you connect and it connects in together. So whatever you listen to is what we listen to.
What are you listening to?
I listen to R&B.
That is what gets you fired up.
Yeah, I'm smooth. Okay. I'm Jay Holiday, Jaheim.
Okay, so.
Avant. You know who my favorite is?
Who?
Chris Brown.
If you are about to go out and play a game, because we've asked Tyus this before. We know Tyus likes. You're listening to Chris Brown?
Sure.
he's the one that's going to get you fired up.
Do you remember in the Michael Jordan documentary where he was like bopping, right? He had the headphones on the bus, and they found out it was Kenny Lattimore afterwards.
Yes.
You're like, what a random thing for Michael Jordan to be like jamming out to before. You're like that with R&B, like you're the same way.
Right, yeah. It just depends on my mood. I'm like, okay, like I'm just vibing, like I know how much. Then I'm just vibing, but I mean, I might play like one Meek Mill song before I go out, like the last song maybe. But before that, I mean, you know what you gotta play relaxed. You can't just play too tense. Like me, I'm gonna go out there, I'm vibing, and then you make plays and you fired up.
I mean, if it works, bro.
Hey, it works for me. I mean,
yeah.
I don't like to be too rah. Like that's not me. Like, but if I get a good song, like one last song before I go out there to flip the switch. I mean, as soon as I pass the line, like all that goes out my head, and I'm just flip the switch and I'm just a different person. So it doesn't really matter to me until I get out there.
I remember when Marcus came on after he signed, I was like, are you the leader type? Are you gonna give him this speech? He's like, nah, dude. That just ain't me.
Yeah.
I'll lead by example, but you're just not the type that's gonna be the one getting in there, like preaching, trying to get everybody to go to church on Sunday.
Nah, I'm a lead by example type of person. I mean, I'll talk to guys on the side, give them tips, but I'm not that. That's just not who I am. I mean, I just continue to be who I am, and I mean, I can bring that out depending on the situation, but I'd rather just continue to lead by example and continue to talk to people how they want to be talked to instead of, trying to get their, like people they don't need extra motivation.
Yeah.
They should already have it to go out there. So I feel like I don't need to give it.
And it comes off as fake too, right? Like,
if it's coming from me, maybe. But nah, I'm a real person, so anything I say is real for real.
It's normally Calais, right? Like typically that's his role, isn't it, to try to get everybody fired up at this point?
I think he's embraced that role, and I feel like that is him too as well. So whenever we're getting ready to get on the field or we out on the field in the huddle, he's normally one of our main guys that's going to get us together, that's going to get us right. So, yeah.
Marcus, before we wrap this segment, this week on ESPN was Jimmy V week. As they celebrated, they showed Jim Valvano's legendary speech. And I know you were someone who was really touched by cancer a couple of years ago, and you even partnered up for a little while with Jimmy V Foundation. Can you tell us that story and how it's continued to shape you as a man and as a pro, playing for people that aren't here anymore?
Man, I mean, I've had a numerous amount of people who've lost their lives to cancer. My aunt, my cousin, my grandfather, my uncle. I've had a numerous amount of people who's lost their lives to cancer, but to see how they fought, to see how they persevered, and to see how they never gave up, it really molded me to be who I am today. And I even created my brand, the MW, marked as winners for that, because we may face some type of adversity, we may get knocked down, but you can get knocked down 100 times, but you're gonna get back up 101 times. So even when I saw my grandfather, losing all his hair, going bald, and getting super skinny, I seen how he was still fighting. He told me, like, don't worry, grandson, I'll be all right. Like, he was still fighting. So for me, there's nothing in this world that could get me down, because I mean, I seen what the bottom could be like already, and I know how someone at the bottom can fight. So for me, I just know I keep that on my chest. Like, even on my chain, I put a breast cancer ribbon on there just to keep it dear to my heart.
Yo, you might not be the rah-rah guy, but you just moved me, bro. You just got me fired up. I'm ready to go run through a wall right now for you, dude. That's powerful, man.
Appreciate it.
Thank you for sharing that, dude. All right, make some more noise. Tyus Bowser, Marcus Williams. Press Box 105.7, The Fan. Today's show also brought to you by Maryland Vascular Specialists. Their team of surgeons is Maryland's leaders in ethical arterial procedures. And don't forget that if you're betting online or at the casino, we know it can be fun, but there are risks involved. If you are betting, set your limit and stay within it. Set a budget and a time to stop. If you need help, call 1-800-GAMBLER or go to helpmygamblingproblem.org. When we come back in, it's a big week in the world of sports. I don't know if you guys, even Rita is watching soccer. Even Rita's in. I want to talk about World Cup fever when we come back in. This is the Tyus Bowser Show.